Hey, I don't know if you can hear me, but my sound is not coming through on my end. So let me make sure my sound is. See what's going on there. It's not coming through my earbuds. So then I'm connected. So I don't know what the problem is. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, shit. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Can you hear me now? How's that? I was not muted. No. I think there was an issue. Make Celeste do the entire show. Can you hear me? Testing, testing.
I can hear you now.
I don't know what happened.
It was
I
me.
guess
My sound was off for some reason. I don't know why.
they said they couldn't hear me either.
Oh, okay. Maybe it wasn't me. Right?
And we're back.
Maybe I'm just perfect as always, and something's going on over there. I don't know what.
Lovely to have you here. It's been quite some time. How you
It,
been?
it's been a minute, the last time I was here, I
It's a
got the
different world.
feedback that I was a little too negative. Okay. So, as I look around in our country right now and I see just the most evil, stupid, and lame, like cartoon villain ghouls, uh, achieve more power, status, wealth, and influence than God. Um, and as I remain either at the top or near the top of the list of people actively targeted by that administration, as I look at all that, it's good for me to just say, I should be positive about it. I should feel okay. You know what? Everything's fine. And there's nothing to worry about. So I'm doing great. How are you?
At least that good. Perhaps a notch above, maybe.
Yeah, that's good.
Federal employee and trans are about the two biggest victims at the moment everywhere.
I was trying to rank the victimhood a little bit ago as I was thinking of my opening monologue here. And I think it's undocumented people at the top. And then after that, it's
Probably.
like trans femme people specifically, but maybe, I was thinking about it. I think trans kids are one notch above.
Mm.
So I think I might be at number three. You know, it is what it is.
It's not a
Oh,
competition,
we
but if
have fun.
we're all losing.
Hey, I did my makeup
Um,
in like 10 minutes and I'm looking at it. It looks really good. So I'm happy about that.
it does look pretty damn great.
Thank you.
Since the last time you're on, a lot of stuff has caught on fire, but some stuff has changed for you. You've made a step back into the spotlight. How's that felt for you?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, we're still not where I'd like to be in terms of my output.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult, like I'm busy all the time and this is a lot of work, as I'm sure I don't have to tell you, but uh, I think I found a way to do shorts in a way that makes me feel okay. And then you know what? I think what really happened is that they switched it such that now you can do 3 minutes instead of
Yep.
one. And I can't say anything in under a minute. That's just not
Right.
something I'm capable of. Like I really, really tried, and I was like, I can't do this. I was like speeding the videos up and stuff. It's just like it's not working.
Yeah.
But uh, yeah. So I've kind of decided to shift focus to watching movies in the theater and reviewing new releases, at least while I'm trying to build up this venture. You know, um, yeah, thanks, John. I appreciate that. It's been really fun. I've really enjoyed it. I didn't used to be a theater person. I'm definitely becoming a theater person. I really enjoy it. I used to have the mindset of like, you know, I can have this experience better at home and cheaper.
Right.
Like I can have my subtitles, I can pause it and go to the bathroom. I can have my snacks and everything. Like I don't have to eat just popcorn or
Yeah.
whatever. But there really is something to it, like the big screen and the good sound and everything. Uh, but also, on account of the horrors, it is really nice to just, both on a macro and micro level, it is really nice to just force myself to put my phone down and like
Yeah.
engage with art in a way that is thoughtful and meaningful, like in a communal setting. I don't really go to a lot of packed screenings. I think the screenings I tend to attend are like pretty sparsely attended because I tend to go in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I saw Mickey 17 recently in the theater in IMAX, and I was like pretty close up. That was pretty amazing. I don't know. This is a really cool thing that we have that I hope doesn't go away. But I got Movie Pass. That's why I used to have Regal Unlimited, which was nice. But there's also other theaters in town that are not Regal that I like a lot. So
Right.
I've been going to I'd switched to Movie Pass. I have a little bit of a system to get a lot out of it, but it's been really nice. So yeah.
We might have to talk about that later.
I'll teach you how to do it. It's not intuitive.
Other than Mickey 17, what else you been seeing? Up to you however much you want to cover. I know that you've done shorts for a lot of the more recent stuff.
Yeah, I was doing my Oscar run because I also decided to live stream the Oscars, and I'm going through changes. I used to be an Oscar hater. I'd be like, I cannot imagine caring about this. Like, who gives a shit? Like, it's just like a completely arbitrary, like, politically motivated group of people just like picking stuff that they clearly haven't even seen half the time, and I'm just like, all of that is true, but I gotta give you credit. You are the one who swayed me to care about the Oscars because you're just like, it's really cool to have like a day to celebrate movies, and I'm like, you know what, that is pretty cool. Like, I feel like movies are like not in vogue right now, and like
that's true, very
very
true.
It is, watching the ceremony, like we really are like celebrating it as art. Like,
yeah,
we're shining light and giving love to like films that wouldn't have been on this kind of spotlight otherwise. Like the short films that I got the chance to see that I never would have been on my radar otherwise, the documentaries and stuff. Even some of the deeper cut Best Picture winners, I'm really glad they made it 10 because like Nickel Boys would not have been on my radar.
Yeah.
And that movie's fucking amazing. So, and I'm in the middle of reading the book right now too, actually. Really
nice.
So, I'm not paying attention to the chat right now because I've just been kind of rambling for a while.
Probably a good thing. You're fine.
Yeah. What else? Oh, I saw some things that I didn't like recently, which is unfortunate. I saw like Hard Eyes that I really, really didn't like. I know you liked that one.
We're gonna disagree there. God, I love the writing in that movie. I couldn't
stand it. But the one that I saw, The Monkey, recently. That shit was awful. It's fucking terrible. Like, it's one of the worst movies I've seen in a long time, and I was genuinely shocked by how bad it was. I hated it. I like genuinely was this close to walking out. I was about halfway through, and I was like, "This sucks. I hate this. This is a painful experience for me."
It's so odd how divisive this movie is.
Yeah, I think it's because it hinges so much on the humor, and humor is very subjective, and it just, I don't know. It's trying to do like an ironic thing. It's trying to do like a deadpan kind of like I don't. It's really mean too. I feel like in a way that feels ugly.
It's pretty sadistic.
But it's like it's trying to do like a self-aware thing where like there's so many layers of irony in the humor where it's like, oh, you just, we know that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I couldn't deal with it. But you know what? I'm happy that people like it. And there were things I liked about it. Like, I like the actual monkey. I think he's cool. I like him.
Yeah.
I'd buy one.
Stan wants to know if you have seen Presents yet.
Yes, it's great. I really loved it. That was before I was doing shorts for everything. Presents is great. I really enjoyed it. I like it more the more I think about it too.
Isn't it crazy that he already has another new movie in theaters tonight?
I know. I'm going to try to see that sometime next week, but that's wild. What else about Presents? Oh, there's a Basement song in that, like a needle drop of one of my favorite Basement songs, and they're one of my favorite bands. And it is in the most disturbing and uncomfortable scene in the movie, and I was like, I don't like this. This feels bad to like be excited that I'm hearing this song, but also like with what's happening on screen.
Right.
Interesting. But yeah, I know a lot of people didn't like it because they wanted it to be like straightforward horror movie or maybe more like paranormal ghost haunting type, and it's really not. It's like I heard it compared to a Mike Lee film. I think that's a pretty apt comparison. It's
Yeah.
not nearly as good as something like that or as well written as something like that, but like it's really just like a family drama and like really intense like emotions and stuff like that.
Right.
And the ghost POV is just kind of like the framing device, which I thought was neat and clever. I enjoyed it. So,
any recent pickups, or are you staying far away from physical media at the moment?
I do have pickups. I have a stack in front of me. People have been generous in sending me things, but also I did place an order recently that I have to show. So, first of all, my friend Dr. Jeff Butcher, who is a patron of mine, sent me some Blu-rays that he upgraded. So, appropriately, Dr. Butcher MD is the first one.
Excellent.
Someone tell me in the comments, because I know that these cuts are very different. Is it worth watching both? Like, should I which one should I prioritize? And then if it asks someone to prioritize, is it worth watching the second one as well? Between this and Zombie Holocaust, because I don't know. It's not my birthday, but thank you. It's nice to see you, Bill, by the way. The other one is Hardware. So two separate
the Umbrella 4K.
Yeah. So he got those. So I got to be the benefactor of these.
Very nice.
That's great. Oh, another thing that you can see right now, something that I treated myself to when I had a decent pay period. Right there. That's a Nosferatu the Vampire, Werner Herzog, original one sheet. I'm fucking stoked about it. I got it really cheap. It's not in the best condition, but it's like 50 years old, so like I'm not worried about it. I just wanted to have it because it's like maybe my favorite movie poster. It's one of my favorite films. It does.
Funny enough, it's not a one sheet, but I got a version of that poster for Christmas this last year.
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, I'm just excited about it. Next, I got in my prize on the live stream. I promise there's no funny business going on. I'm just smarter than everyone. It just is what it is, you know. I'm just fast and smart. What can you do? It's hard being perfect, you know. So I got Dangerous Game. I picked these, but I'm being facetious, by the way. I have very bad self-esteem. I have to be like this to even out to like a healthy self-image, right? The help of your Discord. Our friends in your Discord helped me pick things because all of them sounded good to me, more or less. I was having a hard time narrowing it down. But
including the guy that was sending you movies, Justin himself actually helped too.
What was that?
Justin himself actually gave an opinion on there too.
Oh,
the guy that sent you those movies. Yeah, I if I remember right, I think he said something that day.
I don't remember what he said. Maybe it was after I made my decision. And I didn't see the messages.
Could be.
But, every single person basically immediately and unanimously were like, hey, you specifically, you the person asking this question would love Dangerous Game. So I was like, all right. I think somebody said like, yo, he's a fucking unrepentant sick freak just like you. You should get that. I'm like, all right. You're on the level. You know what I'm about. And the next one, thanks, Jim. I appreciate that. I'll catch up on the comments in a second. The next one is Thieves Like Us, because I wanted to get at least one 4K. I'm getting free stuff.
Yeah.
And I love Robert Altman, and I love Shelley Duvall. So, and I don't have the Radiance, so I thought, why not? I'll go ahead and get that.
That was a very timely Shelley pickup too. That was right after, a couple weeks after she passed.
Yeah, I know. That was. I'm sure that wasn't on purpose, the timing, but it was, I guess, interesting. And the last one, this was the main one that I knew I wanted to get, is a Goatfish. This is a lesbian one that apparently people were mad about. Get over it. Like, be an adult. Like, what's wrong with you? Now, do they send these out, because the numbers on the back, do they send them out, like, in order? Because I have
it's all random.
Okay, because I was going to say, if they've only sold 200 copies of this, that's a bummer. But I think it's probably more than that, because we can't check anymore.
That would be nice if that's how we could figure that out.
So I'm excited about that. Another quick last free thing before I get into stuff I paid for. Our friend Stephen Perkins purchased me Blahage, and I'm so stoked about it because I used to have one of these and I lost it in the divorce. And now I have one. He's soft and I can cuddle with him whenever I want, and it's great. That is necessary um, for every trans femme.
The picture of the day you got that was pretty great.
Okay, and then I bought things. I'm not just out here exploiting my audience. It is a great pillow. It's like the perfect it's like a body pillow, but it's like a lovely shark, you know. So I placed my Valentine's Day sale order over on Melucine, and I thought this would be appropriate to show off, given our topic du jour. Right? First one I got was 9 Lives of a Wet Pussy. This is another Abel Ferrara film. I didn't realize that I had two in the stack. I've seen this one before, and I didn't really like it very much, to be honest with you. But this was literally the last one. Like, it sold out,
wow.
And then I happened to check, and there was one more that they added, and I was like, okay. Really, the reason I got it is because Sam Deegan does a commentary on it, and I wanted to get that. So, I thought that was worth, what, $10? Yeah. The next one, I don't know anything about this. I was just catching up on all the out-of-print Vinegar Syndrome stuff that was on, like, the steep discount. So this is A Touch of Genie. I don't know anything about it. Mark Stevens. I think I know who that is. That's kind of it. Next one is High School Fantasies. This is probably questionable, but again, I was just catching up on the stuff that was going on with friends. This one I'm really excited about because I've heard that it's one of the better. Like, it's one of those like art films that people will say like, "Hey, anybody should like this." Even if you're not just like into porn stuff or whatever, but Memories of Miss Aggie, Memories Within Miss Aggie. Heard nothing but good things. There's not really any features on this, which is unfortunate, but
yeah, it's a pretty old one too, I think.
And then I'm upset because a couple of the ones that I wanted sold out before I could get to them. In particular, Trashy Girl, or Trashy Lady, I think it's called, which has a really gorgeous love slipcover on it. But the other one was a Blue Ice that has this lovely slip on it. So I was happy to get this one, and I think this one was also supposed to be pretty good, like as a film, and maybe pretty mean, is what I've heard too. So those are my sale pickups that I wanted to get to round out what I had left to fill in my gaps, as it were, in the yes.
Colton says that's a I Dream of Genie parody, the Blue Genie.
Oh yeah, is that a joke or is that serious?
It seems serious. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, the good pickups. Yeah, a couple of those are pretty dang decent. I set aside a couple that I knew that you would appreciate. Genuinely got this in this week. Try to support bands on Bandcamp Friday, and last Friday was one of the cheapest Bandcamp Fridays I've ever seen. So one of my favorite bands, Zayo, put out live recording Blu-ray, DVD, CD, and they sold this thing for $10 this weekend.
Yeah, I saw that on their Facebook. They said that they were doing like a special, like warehouse clear out or something.
Yeah,
like that. I think they're doing.
Wasn't going to pass up $10 for a 3-disc release. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, they had a lot of lineup changes throughout the years. Yeah.
Not in quite some time, but in the first like 12 years of their life, oh my god, they had like 25 different band members.
I'm only familiar with like their first 2 records. I don't even know if it's the first ones, but like the one that's like the spinny thing, and then the one where it's like the dude and he's on fire. You know, the big
Liberate Tex and Ferris is the first one. Yes. This one, I've heard a lot of people say good things about the Vordelac. This is an oscilloscope release, came with my subscription. It's supposed to be great. One of our mutual friends wrote on this one, which is one of the reasons I bought it to support. This is Chronos 4K from BFI. Michelle Kisner is in the essays on here. They've been killing it. For anybody that has never checked out BFI stuff, they're doing a lot of the same stuff as Criterion and beating Criterion in quality by like 80%. It's not even close.
More affordable too.
Much more affordable, which is crazy because it's still 4K and more materials. It's why, and coming from the UK.
I'm definitely going to be grabbing the Seven Seal and Seven Samurai, the 7 double feature there.
Nice.
From BFI. They've done a cool list for me.
And then shout out to. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, my main things I'm trying to get coming up are the Nothing Is Sacred set, Radiance, and the new Cruising, because it's got like a leather textured slip case or whatever.
And it's huge. It's
That's enough of a gimmick to get me to want the limited edition.
There's a lot of stuff, and it's packed. Then the last thing, Zach and I just did an episode on Larry Fessenden, and I like this so much I had to go out and get Blackout. This is his recent werewolf film. This is part of the MPI, Dark Sky Selects series. This is the only place that you can get that is on their website. Other than that, stuff I've watched recently, I think it was Paul in the chat who said he just watched this. My wife had never seen The Hitcher, so put this in this week. Watch this with my mom and my wife, and I'd scanned through the 4K last year, but this movie looks incredible in 4K, and the interview that won in the Shelf Shock Rewind Awards of our main character, his interview is genuinely amazing. I'm pretty happy that won. This is a really solid release. Hope people have checked that out. If not, and then funny enough, the only other one I want to talk about, because I went to show it to my kids and I realized how absolutely stupid this movie was. I rewatched George of the Jungle with Brendan Fraser this weekend, and dear God, that movie is just the lowest of hanging fruit. It feels like it's like an attempt at slapstick that does not work in most scenes. But Brendan Fraser's good because he always is. But man, that is not a great movie.
The last time I saw that movie, it was probably 10. I don't know, like a child, and then at my school, the Catholic private school I attended, there was a thing where for the kids whose parents can't pick them up right at 3 or whatever, they have what's called after school care, where you just go after school and they would just, you do your homework and they'd watch you or whatever. And they'd usually have movies on like VHS and stuff, and like that was in the heavy rotation. And I remember distinctly, I have no idea why, because I don't remember anything about it, but I remember just being like aesthetically repulsed by it every time.
Right.
It just being like, I hate this. I don't want to watch this. I have no idea why.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, I will probably not watch that thing again. Ever.
Where did you watch it?
I can't remember if that was a disc or Disney Plus. One of the two.
I'm gonna say, is that a Severin Deluxe edition?
Yeah, I'm working on bonus features and it's coming, so I had to watch.
Auto tuning?
Oh man, what's that?
That sound weird?
Yeah, it's not great tonight. It's not like a studio mic.
Oh, well, let me fix that.
It sounds like it's in a dungeon with you.
Oh.
And somebody's moving a dresser on the other end of the room. It was better earlier. That's incredible. Now you're amazing.
Yeah, because it was doing my fucking earbuds, and now it's on my microphone. I didn't know.
And my microphone wasn't working, so I had to do my earbuds.
Thank you, Sibner, for saying something. That could have been worse for a while.
And now everybody is happy.
Now, yeah, that's correct.
Tonight we're talking about adult films. I already mentioned this earlier when we were trying to fix microphones, but one of the reasons is to promote what you do every month for Punk Vacation. Tell everybody about that.
Well, with my new smooth audio, right, we can go ahead and say for the podcast plug, the podcast audio, right? Punk Vacation, our friend Chris Haskell. Man, I'm sorry. I'm still not over the fact that I did all that monologuing with the fucking earbud microphone. That sucks so hard. Let's just redo it. Second take. It's fine. Okay. No. Punk Vacation, our friend Chris Haskell. They Live by Film, among a million other projects. He's turning into your protege of sorts of doing way
I'm
too
trying
much.
to groom him a little bit in the most legal of ways.
Oh, I'm gonna have to clip that one. I'm trying to groom him a little bit. Quote Ryan Verrill. Hey, I didn't say it. See, this is why I need to pay attention to the chat. I'm sure somebody said something earlier about my sound. Canceled indeed. Where was I? Oh, he does a podcast, Vinegar Syndrome podcast, unofficial. He covers all the releases, more or less. And I reached out to him and I was like, hey man, you're doing all these releases, but you're not doing the adult titles. What's going on there?
Right.
Why we gotta always treat them like second class citizens or something, you know? He was like, look, I gotta call it somewhere. There's a lot of releases. And I was like, that is so fair, actually. Like, that's super fair. And I think it was my idea. I was like, man, if I had the like money for it, I would just do it. Like, I'd just review all of these, you know? And he was like, well, that would be great. How could we make that happen? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, how about I buy them, send you the money for them or whatever. And then after you've reviewed them, you set them aside and then send them to me so that you can review them and everything, but you don't have to buy them. And then I'll get them eventually. And I was like, well, yeah, we could do that. At first I was like, I can't do that. I'll get too attached and then I'll want to buy them all off you. And that's just not going to work. But no, it's working okay. I can get them later, you know, when they're on a sale or whatever. I don't have to get them for day one prices.
And those, as specifically, the adult titles do not sell quickly ever.
No, they really don't. It's a little bit sad, but they'll be
very sad, especially now that they're on their own site.
Yeah, it is. It has definitely upped the number of releases per month, I think, because like it used to be 1 maybe, and now it's like 3 or 4. You know, so that's really cool. But yeah, I do feel like there's just so much. You know, it's hard for people to keep up, and it's a pretty specific audience. But what I'm hoping to do with this segment is try to get more people on board and try to like make it more accessible for people, you know, and like make it less intimidating, I guess, or like maybe explain it in a way that, because, you know, I have friends or people in my real life who I talk to about this, and they're just kind of like, what are you talking about? Why would you, you know, like, what do you mean? Like, you just like, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, it's, you know, in this period of time, these are real movies. Like they are, you know, some of them are pretty rough. Like it is very like the flimsiest plot or like framing device or whatever, just to get images of people having sex or whatever. And I'm like, sure, that's fine. But like a lot of the times we're talking about directors, auteurs, writers, etc., who want to do genuine creative stuff, but don't have an avenue of like entry, not to be grotesque about it, but like you know, like traditional ways and to break into the industry, it's very competitive, it's very risky, it's very expensive. But like this was a way where you could almost guarantee to make your money back, and like a producer doesn't really care what you do as long as that's in it. And so you can be like, hey, here's my weird script, but you know, I've written it such that there are sex scenes in it and there will be X amount of screen time devoted to that. And the producer's just like, okay, do whatever you want. So there's a lot of like weird art house people that would go into this and like kind of get their feet wet. Or like Abel Ferrara is a great example of somebody, or Wes Craven is another example of somebody who like, this was the way to learn the ropes, you know, like get their foot into the industry. And there's some interesting things in there. Even if it's not always good, it's always at least interesting, not just from a writing perspective, but also these are time capsules. There's a lot of really great films that showcase really beautiful vintage New York City photography and stuff like that. I don't know. The last episode we did with Chris, with somebody he invited on named Eli, had this really great point where it's like, you know, nobody thinks it's strange to preserve like advertisements, like vintage advertisements. And a lot of people get a lot of value out of that. And this is a very similar thing where even if you're not enjoying the film on its own merits or per se, it's like, this is still like a cultural artifact and like a historical document worth preserving. And like the things that people find to be erotic in a certain period of time in a certain market is interesting data from like an anthropological perspective, you know? And so even when I'm not enjoying the movie itself, it's like, it's still an interesting kind of like academic exercise. And you know what? I'm gonna just say it. At the very least, I'm watching hot people have sex, and that's like never a bad time, right? So
Right.
like, sure. So I do that every month. I do all of the Melusine titles. That includes the partner labels that go up there. And yeah, I tried that segment is called 15 minutes with you. That was the thing I came up with at first, and I kind of liked it. I thought it stuck. Shout out to anyone who gets the reference. I'm sorry that you are also depressed. But yeah, so it's not as in depth as like the Vinegar Syndrome reviews I used to do. And we're not talking about an hour-long segment or anything.
Right.
But
also the plot is a lot flimsier than a lot of those VS titles.
Generally speaking, yeah. I mean, not always, but sometimes it's, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I do still try my best to go through all the special features and stuff. So I try to take it seriously and give it the care that I give any other film that I attach a project to. So yeah.
Well, and that podcast has morphed over the last handful of months into something like genuinely huge. I mean, reviewing that many titles every month is, first off, a massive undertaking. And so for
you gotta tell me.
know, a couple people together, you and Chris, covering, I mean, I think last month he did 13 out of 15 titles, and then you had, what was last month, 3 or 2? I think it was 3, right? So
it might have been 4. Yeah.
Okay, so like 17 out of 19 total titles released. That is so much to cram in there. Not to mention bringing on a guest to have another sort of opinion and interview / segment. That's intense. There's so much in there, and you know, VS has turned into like literally its own culture through this physical media world that everybody has watched grow over the last 11, 12 years now at this point. And I mean, if you're getting 19 titles out of one label in 1 month, that is fucking intense, obviously, but to watch them all and review them just a couple weeks later is next level.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what he's doing is really cool, and I'm happy to contribute and be a part of it. And I hope that it grows, you know, because he puts not just the amount of time, but like it's a lot of money. Like getting all these releases, it's expensive. I obviously couldn't do it, but you know, I think that he's just the right amount of insane and privileged in that he can afford these things and has the time to watch them. That I think he's the right man for the job, you know. And like he'll try to like throw in partner labels on top of it too. Like,
right.
He doesn't
like
do
the
all
ones
of
he's
them,
more excited about.
Crazy, but like, you know. So I think it's impressive.
Craig is saying VS themselves put out 19 titles in a month. I think it was close to that if you count all of the adult films and all of the like 14 sub-labels that VS has. So there was De Gausser, there was multiple Cinematograph titles, there was a mainline, and I think there was a box set or 2 last month. So that's like 5 or 6 titles already just in their main titles. And it just keeps going. VSA, VSU, VSL. Who knows? There's a lot. Last month was a particularly heavy month from Vinegar Syndrome.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Dustin. I am seeing Opus tomorrow morning, so I'm excited about that.
Opus looks fun. I love Ayo Edebiri.
Yeah, she's the greatest. I saw that she called Elon Musk an idiot today, and I'm just like, bless you. I'm so excited to show up and support.
A couple things that are like timely to cover right now, because we're not going to talk about them in announcements. Tomorrow, the Grindhouse releasing pre-order for the Beyond 4K is finally going to happen. This has been announced and teased, I think, since December of 2022, which is wild. Yeah, I mean,
I kind of wasn't sure. I thought maybe Cauldron had it, or maybe Arrow, or maybe Arrow still has it. I'm not sure, but you know.
Yeah, they might have it in the UK. But yeah, Grindhouse had announced this, I think, December of 2022 that it was coming. They also announced Cannibal Holocaust 4K and that is still who knows.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. That's not out yet.
Well, they 88 Films did it in the UK, but Grindhouse is supposedly doing it here, so that's not out yet.
The
here.
88 version doesn't have the animal cruelty free cut, does it?
I don't think so. I think that's a Grindhouse.
Do they have to by law? Actually.
Ooh, that might be. That's a good point. That might be the case. I'm not sure
when I buy that, I'm not watching the regular version. Right. So like that's, and I've seen it before. I've seen the animal cruelty free cut, and that is still the most disturbing film I've ever seen in my life. So I think I'm good.
Still not a great cut. Yeah.
On the rest of it, yeah.
So there's that happening, and then out of nowhere, Kino Lorber. Someone just mentioned them in the chat a moment ago. I think that was Craig. Kino Lorber quietly pulled down the Stallone film Daylight that they were releasing on 4K, and Dante's Peak both of those were removed from their site today. Daylight is being told to retailers to not sell them anymore. And no word on Dante's Peak if something has happened there, but it sounds like that really only happens as a licensing issue. They have confirmed in one of the emails on somebody in our Discord was able to share an email that they got. They said it is not a disc production issue. So it sounds like it's probably a licensing thing. Like they didn't actually have the rights, or a music track didn't get cleared or something.
Yeah, it sounds like there was some miscommunication there, maybe. That's unfortunate. I know some people were really excited about, especially Dante's Peak, is what I was trying to catch up on this show today at work, and I listened to your episode with KV and Will, and I know that he was really excited about that. So that's unfortunate. That was just a week ago, right?
Dante's Peak got a delayed release date. It got delayed twice already, and I think we're even going to talk about it tonight, but not sure what is happening moving forward, because it is fully removed from their website now, unless they put it up in the last 20 minutes.
I guess we could check.
I did fact check before coming on, but not since we've been on.
I'm gonna real quick. Josephine asked if I had any thoughts on any of these watches, and I don't on most of them, because I have only seen Save the Green Planet of all of these films that she listed, and that film is fucking insane. It's completely unhinged. It was in a bundle of South Korean films that the Criterion Channel did a few years ago. And I really liked it. It's on my Blu-ray wish list.
Nice.
Or did it get announced?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Yeah, it's still on my Blu-ray wish list, but I really like that one. Good evening to my favorite couple, Ryan and Celeste, and the chat. I mean, that's fine, but like that's not a couple anymore. Come on, it's a throuple. Be, precise with your language.
And inclusive.
Inclusive, right? I don't recommend thruples, but that's okay.
Do you want to explain why, or should we talk about that later?
Not to get too personal, but don't recommend it.
I think that's it for the late breaking news that we're not going to cover tonight. Anything else you want to shout out before we go into the announcements?
How is because I can't, it could be my earbuds. My earbuds are shitty, and these are just the ones that I use for therapy that are plugged into this computer. But if the chat could confirm how you are sounding, because it sounds not super great to me, but I'm just not. It could very well be me.
I could refresh, and maybe that would fix my microphone.
Yeah. I don't know. Humboldt says I'm looking gorgeous. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Craig says we both sound decent.
Okay, good.
And Stan says he thought a thruple was a kind of an ice cream cone.
Yeah, that's where you get 3 scoops.
I mean, there is licking involved. The new release date is June 10th, apparently.
Okay.
Huh. Is it? Instead of me asking, I guess I should just go to the site. This makes for engaging television.
It does. I'll keep answering the chat. John, I started because I always have my phone on vibrate for theaters and stuff, but it was distracting me, and I could like, especially if I get a call, it's like a lot. So I just started putting it on Do Not Disturb, and it's nice to just completely check out for a couple hours. I saw Queen of the Ring the other day, the new female wrestling movie. I didn't know anything about it going in, but it is a biopic actually about the first female wrestler to do that like professionally. I thought it was really good. I know it's gotten some mixed reviews, and it's seemingly really under the radar for some reason. I don't know why. Because it's really well made. It seems like it's at least a mid-budget production or whatever. But I thought it was really good. Really enjoyed it. Thank you to all the compliments. I appreciate that. I love that Klaus Kinski passes your smell test. I don't know about that, but he's really good in it. Like, it kind of works because he's such a deranged, strange man. Like that, you know, him and Nosferatu makeup frolicking about is just really, it just hits, you know?
Ronnie has a question for you.
Is it gay? No. I'm going to be so real with you. That's why I went to see it, but it's not. I was hoping it would be. There is a gay person in it. Like, it's, you know, it's referenced. I think you'll still enjoy it. I did, but, you know, it's not the focus, unfortunately.
I think you're almost caught up.
Yeah, I think so. You can get started if you want.
Well, getting started is about you, actually, because I've not seen Mickey 17 yet.
Okay.
Warner Brothers putting out a 4K of Mickey 17. You said you thought it was great.
I loved it. Yeah.
What about it?
It might be. I have a review shot, but the sound on all the reviews I shot at once were like terrible, so I'm trying to fix it. But just like a quick one, not like an in-depth one or anything like that. But yeah, I thought it was great. It's not as good as Parasite, but it is definitely more on like a Snowpiercer level to me, I think, or like maybe The Host is something like that. Like, it's very big, and I think it will be divisive because it's extremely political and in a way that is extremely topical and of the moment. Watching it, aside from the fact that it's really entertaining and it's really well made and it looks gorgeous and the production design and the visual effects are all spectacular and the performances are great too. Watching it, it feels like it was written like in February. Like, it's crazy how prescient. And that's prescient is a strange word for a film that opened last week, but this has been in development for years. You know, like I think it was written 2021, something like that, and like
it was delayed, I think, twice.
It was delayed for like over a year. So like, somehow it aged really well in that very short amount of time. I don't want to spoil anything, but like, Mark Ruffalo plays the villain, and he is channeling very specific people in his performance in ways that are extremely topical. I was just like, damn, it's crazy that like a movie aged this well this fast.
Impressive.
But yeah, I don't know. He's not. It's not subtle. He's not pulling punches. I think it's pretty scathing and of the moment, and I think it's going to annoy people who are looking for just escapism, but that's not really what I ever look for in a movie. So I know that I'm a different audience than the blockbuster crowd, which I think this is playing for. So I think it's definitely going to get some mixed reactions, but I hope it does well. I mean, it was like $100 million. I think $100 million budget, and they're saying after marketing and everything, it's going to have to make $300 million. I don't know why on earth they would give this type of thing that kind of money. It's not going to make that much, but I hope it does well enough that he can keep getting work like this. You know,
I mean, he's got a Best Picture Oscar. I hope that stands for something over time. Craig says, am I the only person who hates that Blu-rays are announced while films are still in theater or even before sometimes? Like first of all, you're not the only one. This is a very common complaint. But the big thing is obviously because you can pre-order this now. There's not even a release date on it. You can pre-order it, so they're trying to go off of the hype from now to get more sales of it. But I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing that they announce it. I think that just fulfills more trust in the physical media aspect. If they announced that it was coming on physical media 2 weeks later, I'd be pretty upset about that. That's a different thing.
Yeah, when is this coming out?
There's no date. It could be June.
Okay.
It could be October.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that's probably fine. Like, yeah, I agree. You're kind of capitalizing on the current excitement, as it were. I like the steelbook, by the way. I think it looks nice.
Yeah, it's a good design. Going to our next one. Last week, we officially bullied Shout Studios into changing the artwork.
You can see my comment. Here we go.
Yep, on the Blaxploitation set. And I know that not everybody hated the art. I definitely hated the art on this. But I hope this is just placeholder and they replace it with something else eventually. And it's not just a colorful splosh.
Yeah, so I saw the artwork and I didn't really think about it one way or the other. Like, it didn't strike me as being so egregiously bad that I was like repulsed or anything. Like, I thought it was Freddie Gibbs. It kind of did look like Freddie Gibbs. That's funny. The more I looked at it, yeah. I mean, so I'm gonna be brave. Okay, you need to hold me in the light in my vulnerability right now as I speak my truth. And that I didn't think the artwork was bad. Like, I thought it was like fine, honestly. Like, yeah, I don't know. Some people are making me feel better and are defending it in the chat, and I'm like, yeah, I had a vibe to it. Like, I don't know. I see at least 10 different artworks per week where I'm like, really? That's what we went with? And this was not one of them. And it's strange to me that you would just go with a blank cover instead. I think that that's worse, personally. And I'm curious what the poster's going to look like now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna die on that hill, I guess, that it was like fine. It wasn't great or anything, but I thought it was kind of a vibe. And it okay, here's my point of comparison. I didn't think it was worse than any of the Shawscope, or not Shawscope, but Shaw Brothers sets that they put out.
Oh, I thought it was literally about 500 times worse than those box sets.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Clearly I'm in the minority, but that's okay. My question to you: some of these films are really big. Do you like coffee? Is this really going to be like a set only thing?
I've said this in the comments over the last week. I know a lot of people have said I will buy a couple of these when they get single releases outside of this box set, and they probably will in other territories. Shout Factory has never, as far as I'm aware, released a box set and then released all of the titles standalone that were in the box set, because this box is not limited. This will be in print the entire time that they have the licenses. It's not like Indicator has put out box sets and then the box set sold out and then they sold standards of each individual title so that they could do that, because that was a limited box. The only thing that they've done is sold individual titles and then boxed them up afterwards. So like they just did that for the Bill and Ted trilogy.
Yeah. Unless there was a licensing requirement, I'm puzzled by the decision to put 6 of these in a 4K set, because that's, what is it, 160? I mean, honestly, that's not bad.
On their site, it's like 130 or 140.
Okay, well, that's honestly a good deal. So maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just like, when I saw the announcement, I was like, geez, that's going to be expensive. But that's like the same price point as their Shaw Brothers sets, yeah?
Yeah, those are 11 films, though.
Yeah, but they're not 4K. And I know 4K is way more expensive to produce, right?
To produce, yeah, but I mean, licensing 11 films is still pretty damn expensive.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
And the crazy thing for this is they're marketing this as a 12-disc set when it's literally just the 6 films.
Well, it's probably still 12 discs, yeah?
It is like 12 discs, yeah. They've got a feature and then a feature and extras Blu-ray, yeah. All right. That is Shout Getting Bullied. First actual announcement. Second Run DVD over in the UK is releasing Oil Lamps from 1971. This is a film that you'll probably recognize the director's name here, Juraj Hurs. That's probably not how you pronounce it, because I am not Czech, I think. I don't remember.
You're so not whatever this is that you don't even know what country it is.
True. I could have just kept reading. I'm sure it says it in here somewhere. They also did The Cremator and Morgiana and Beauty and the Beast, 3 titles that have gotten a lot of love on physical media. This will have a new 4K restoration from the Czech National Film Archive. There's a projection booth commentary on here.
You better check yourself.
I'm about to wreck. With my friend Mike White from the projection booth. Kat Ellinger's on there as well, and Jonathan Owen. There is a early short Czech public information film on the perils of alcohol and STDs from 1947. It sounds pretty fun.
Sorry. I was reading. Say that again. Something about alcohol and STDs.
There is an early short Czech public information film on the perils of alcohol and STDs.
Well, that sounds delightful.
From 1947.
I love that. I love these like weird shit that you can just throw on there, you know?
I hope, is this pronounced Paige? Do you know?
Yes, I believe her name is Paige.
Cremator rule. Have you seen Cremator?
I have not. It's been on my list for a minute, but I've heard nothing but like incredible things about it. So
it's a pretty amazing movie. I can see how it would be hard to get into though.
I'm gonna give a second shout out to my friend Stephen Perkins on the sultry microphone because he wanted a second one. So, you know, I think that he deserves it. So there you go.
Absolutely did. So that is Second Run. Kino releasing a 4K of Mouse Hunt soon. This will have a brand new HDR Dolby Vision master of the Nathan Lane and Lee Evans starring Mouse Hunt. Unironically, I think this movie is incredible and has one of the best sets in film history. Have you seen this?
No, I've never even heard of this, to be honest. I don't know what this is.
It's literally about 2 men that are trying to sell a house, and this mouse is terrorizing them. It's a very slapstick
so it's like
90s.
Tom and Jerry, but like with dudes.
Literally, yes. It is so funny.
All right. Yeah. I feel like all of these Kino announcements, where it's just the poster art, in my mind, it's like coming soon from Kino, asterisk. Maybe.
Hopefully, yeah.
At some point. You hope so, right?
Yep. We'll talk about another wishful one from them soon. And it's now Airplane 2, the sequel, getting a 4K from Kino eventually, maybe someday. Airplane movies. Not many have seen the sequel. Have you seen the sequel?
No, I'm not. I like the first one, though. I'm sure that's a scorching hot take, but I think it's pretty good.
I'll take the hot take on this one. I honestly think this might be one of the like fullest comedy films ever. This has like a lot of people hate this because it steals a lot of gags from the first film, but those gags are all hilarious in the first film. So they take a lot of those and do more. And so it's a really, I think the sequel is pretty damn great.
Did you say it's one of the fullest?
Yeah, like jokes per minute. Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because they literally steal like most of the gags and then put a lot into the second one.
There's a joke somewhere about stuffing and gags, but you know
that comes after the announcements tonight.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Next is Icon Film Distribution in the UK putting out Mr. Burton from last year. This is coming to Blu-ray on May 19th. This sounds like a made-up movie to me. Starring Toby Jones. Based on a remarkable true story. Discover how the poor son of a miner became one of the greatest actors the world has ever known with the help of an unlikely mentor. I mean, that just sounds like AI to me.
It really does look like an AI-generated movie poster. You know? Like
not the story
your pitch is due in an hour and you kind of forgot about it and you're like, hold on, I got this.
Next, Gladiator and Gladiator 2 are getting a 2-pack of steelbooks from Paramount. If you did not have either one of them, you can get them on May 6th together. This is Amazon exclusive. Comes in a little outer shell box. And these do have 4K Blu-ray and digital codes. I know that's a big thing for a lot of people nowadays.
So here's my hot take right now. This artwork sucks. Like, the blaxploitation artwork is better than this. At least they tried. This is just like slap a Photoshop job together and call it a day, you know? And these are like big studios. I don't understand why their artwork is always so hideous.
I would agree fully on that. Especially the Gladiator 2 one here. It's not even
like, it's terrible. Like, the Gladiator one is fine, but that's the artwork that's been around for like a decade at this point, you know? Like, the other one was just like literally like it was due in 30 minutes and they were like,
and they paused the trailer.
Yeah, like, but I mean, that's the poster though. They just took out all the background. Like, just like put it on a white background. Like, bro, come on. Gladiator 2 was fine.
Look at the outer box. It's like
it's like, what is it? What's happening? It looks like Assassin's Creed, like fucking, I don't know. It's not great.
Assassin's Creed.
That's what it looks to me. Or like Prince of Persia or something like that.
There you go.
I don't play video games, so those are my references. Yeah, it looks like a video game cover to me.
It does.
I don't know. Did you see Gladiator 2?
No, I gotta be honest, nothing about it was exciting. I mean, I did want to see Denzel's performance, but I mean,
it's kind of overhyped. Like, it's good. I mean, he's good. He's good in everything he turns in, right? But like, it's nothing where I was like, I wouldn't have thought to notate it if I hadn't heard from other people that it was really great. I would, it's just like maybe the best part. Well, the production design is really quite good, and the cinematography is really quite good, but some of the visual effects are rough, and the script is bad. Like, the script is just bad, but it was fun to watch in a theater. I don't know that I could sit through it again at home, just, on its own merits or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, the story is really lazy and hacky, in my opinion, but and some of the special effects are rough, but I don't know, for like a dumb historical epic, like, it's fine.
Colton says hot people are not enough to make me watch Gladiator 2.
Well, they're banking on it.
All right.
There's another one that costs like an ungodly amount of money. Like, it's crazy how much money they keep giving to Ridley Scott like once a year. Yeah. I can't even imagine the stress of being responsible for like $300 million every year on like your creative project.
This is an announcement for probably like 4 people that have ever watched this show, but the Aquabats Super Show is getting a Blu-ray and DVD release that you can buy on their site right now. This is a TV show that ran for 2 seasons that is similar in vein to something like Yo Gabba Gabba, but more in lines with, it's like Yo Gabba Gabba plus Power Rangers, starring a ska band, and it's a lot of fun. Grew up with the Aquabats.
They played Richmond a few years ago.
They're still actively touring, which is wild. It's crazy. They do a lot more Mormon discussing things supposedly recently, which isn't great. Their lead singer is very Mormon.
Oh, that's interesting. Because unless I'm confusing this with something else, it might be a different goofy ska band that I'm thinking of. Maybe. I feel like it's not. I feel like you don't confuse this with anything else. But a friend of mine is really into this, and she is not the target demographic for Mormon propaganda, I guess. Is what the way I'll put it.
There is none in their music, thankfully. Just supposedly they've done more like more public speaking about it, I guess. Right. Ronnie says Mormon ska. Man, I don't know how many people.
Gossip Smith.
That was pretty good. That was pretty quick too. The ska scene in the 90s was rife with Christian ska bands. It was a crazy time. I can name probably.
Christians get their hands on every scene eventually. Like, it's just a matter of time before the Christian version of it is a thing. Like, it took better with some things than others. For whatever reason, metalcore like really caught on with that. But I feel like they tried to do a Christian black metal thing for a second. That didn't work very well, but like, they always give it a shot.
There's a couple that got pretty big.
Yeah.
Anyways, next, Cinema Classics is hosting a Severin sale right now. This is going through the end of the month. There's 50% off of hundreds of Severin titles. Order ship in 2 to 4 business days when you order. Cinema Classics is a pretty good site. They've got a couple of promos that they run. Like, I think it's if you buy 7 titles, you get one of them free normally. I know a lot of people have not probably purchased from Cinema Classics, but it's one that you might want to talk about a little more often for sales like this. So go check it out, cinemaclassics.com.
Didn't Brother Belial just have one of these? What's going on with Severin?
They did. I mean, Severin kind of. I mean, they did a Grindhouse video sale a few months ago, MVD sale a few months before that. It just kind of goes all around all year.
Feels like Arrow usually is the one that's making the rounds, so it's just interesting to me.
And we'll be having another Arrow sale here soon. They usually have an Easter Carnage sale, so we'll be talking about that.
Yeah. People are accusing me of shit talking Gladiator. I still liked it. Like Gladiator 2, I thought it was fine. It's like 6 out of 10. I'm not saying it's bad. Aspects of it I think are bad, but overall I thought it was fine. Yes, I was keeping up with them for a little bit, and then I fell off pretty quickly. But Blonde Death is one of my favorite discoveries of last year, and I really loved the one they put out after that, the Argento ripoff guy, Fabio, whatever, the Other Dimension. I think that was a great set. Heretic was pretty good. I don't love third act in that film, but it was overall pretty good. I liked it. What else? Oh, I like Steven's comment. I think that's funny.
That's the other thing that I was going to mention. Sibner just reminded me. He says Kino sale is next week. It's are we sure it's next week? I thought it was the 23rd, which would be the following week. The big thing though is the Criterion Flash sale will be next Tuesday. That is the biggest thing. If you are a Criterion channel sub, you probably got a $10 coupon.
Yep, I got that in my email today. So
nice. All right, so Kino sale and Criterion sale next week. Good luck.
Sibner, you say Fabio Argento like as a joke, but this man literally credited himself as Fabio Argento at the end of several of these shorts. Like the early ones he did, it's like his influences are so clearly on his sleeve. He literally like in hand painted letters during the credits, directed by Fabio Argento. So. Also, that's an unfortunate typo. The Criterion Fash sale coming up.
Leaning into it, huh?
Is that like the Night Porter 50% off only? And that's it.
And the Pasolini titles are 30% off.
Yeah. Solo and Lester. Night Porter. Those are the ones.
This one is sarcasm immediately. SRS Cinema raising money for a Josh Graves film, Toy. I normally don't post a lot of the SRS Cinema stuff, but Josh Graves has done some interesting stuff over the years, so not sure how this is going to go. But if this sounds exciting to you, which is what they're saying, after losing her father, lonely 15-year-old Brody finds comfort in an old dinosaur toy she discovers at a yard sale. But when pets and bullies start disappearing, she realizes her new friend has a hunger for more than just companionship. This movie is simply called Toy.
Now, this looks like, I'm just scrolling on my Facebook feed like I do, and then I see Meta AI trying to market to me in the most like hackneyed and bizarre ways possible, and it says, imagine a horror movie version of Toy Story, and that's the image that they come up with. That's what this looks like.
I sadly agree with that 100%. Warner Archive announced this week. We got April 29th is the release date for all of these. This first one is Wacky Races, the complete series. Never thought I'd see this on Blu-ray.
Yeah, this is cool.
4K
I commented
scans.
on this, but I do have nostalgic connection to this. This is definitely like early morning cartoon stuff as a kid for me,
4K scans of all the OCNs on this. That's incredible. You got all
like
17 of the original
Panther,
episodes.
Tom and Jerry, that type of shit,
Yep.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. Continue.
You're fine. And then they're saying that there will be extras. They just have not announced those yet. They're still figuring those out. But Yeah, this is, again, big deal. Only 17 episodes, but this is not something that I ever would have expected to see on HD.
I didn't realize they only did 7. I mean, I guess I wasn't keeping track as a child, just watching this as it came on. But I'm surprised it's only 17 episodes because I remember this being kind of a thing that was on all the time.
Well, they did shorts too with these characters, I think. I don't think those
that makes
count
sense.
on these.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Penelope Pitstop and Snidely Whiplash. Dang, Brian has a Japanese laser disc of this. Amazing.
You say were you spinning those regularly?
I mean, he's got kids,
Saturday morning, time to fire up the Laserdisc player for my Japanese import of Wacky Races. I mean, I think that's sick, but you know,
I can attest. I get pictures from Brian of Japanese Laserdiscs he's showing his kids right now. So,
hell yeah,
it might happen. This is a big one. Michael Keaton in Clean and Sober from 1988 is getting a Blu-ray release. This is going to be a brand new 1080p master. There will not be any extras on this other than the trailer, but the big thing is a lot of people think this is Keaton's best performance he ever did. So to get this on HD for the first time is pretty damn cool.
Nice.
I've not seen this one. I need to. This one, however, this is incredible. 3 The Hard Way from 1974 gets a Warner Archive release. On the same day. This is also a 4K scan of the OCN, which is huge. I'm stoked that this is getting out there. Lots of blaxploitation happening right now, which is exciting. Yeah, big deal. Jim Brown, Fred Williamson, Jim Kelly. One of the greatest, incredible movie.
Yeah. It looks good. I've not seen it. Yeah.
All right.
I was trying to come up with a joke about Trump issuing an executive order about all the blaxploitation stuff coming out. You know,
there's too many,
too many woke films coming out.
Springfield Rifle is probably more up his alley. This Gary Cooper starring film from 1952 gets a Blue on April 29th. This is also a 4K scan of the OCN. This one will have some classic cartoons, Feed the Kitty and Rabbit's Kin. There's a Joe McDoke short, So You Want to Enjoy Life, and then the trailer will be on here as well.
Nice.
Look at that. Ben says he was looking at Wacky Racers on Wikipedia. It looks like every episode was split with an A and a B race. And so they were probably shown as shorts more often to fill up some time. So we probably felt like there was twice as many.
DEI box sets. That's funny.
Oh, man, that's pretty good. Same day.
Exploitation is what it said on the legal filing when he was sued for his real estate practices
back in the 80s.
yeah. Speaking of which, real quick, I watched The Apprentice recently for my Oscar viewing. That shit rips. Like, that movie is so good. Like, I feel like people avoided it because, come on, nobody wants a Trump movie right now. Like, it's just, but like watching it, it's not, I think, what you think. It's not like funny. It's actually very serious and like very, very well written and well acted, and I really like the aesthetic of it and the cinematography, and it is kind of laser focused on a slice of his life and career that I don't think gets focused on much anymore because it's so 2015 and after. But like going back to like his like supervillain origin story, as it were, I guess, is like really fascinating, and it doesn't pull any punches. I think it's really great. So that's my recommendation for now.
Nice. Mary says Feed the Kitty is my favorite cartoon. No joke. That's awesome that it's getting on that release then.
I'll have to look that up.
This one is Side Street from 1950. This is also a 4K scan. This is of the best preservation elements, not of the OCN. This will have a feature commentary by Richard Schickel, featurette Where Temptation Lurks, Crime Does Not Pay Short, The Luckiest Guy in the World, classic cartoons, Goggle Fishing Bear, and Polka Dot Puss, and the trailer. I don't get Warner Archive sometimes because some titles will get, like, some months there will be maybe 2 extras, and then this film Side Street gets everything they could ever think of. And I don't know, spread the love out. Let's get some more commentaries going.
If you got a polka dot puss, you might want to hit up Patient first. That's just my piece of advice.
Oh,
What
that's
is that? I don't know, depending on what you mean.
next up is Lily from 1953, also getting a blue on the same day. We get a 4K scan of the original Technicolor negatives. This should look stupendous on Blu-ray. You got some MGM cartoons on here: The Impossible Possum, Pico's Pest, and Puppy Tail, plus the original trailer. I don't know anything about this one at all, but this has Zsa Zsa Gabor, Mel Ferrer in it.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. Quick question / observation. The thing that they do where they add the little cartoons, I think that that's delightful and very cute, and like that's a nice appetizer for like a random, but like there's no correlation, I guess, between
They're not related in any way.
And like if I am a fan of vintage animation, as I am, and if I want to seek these out, I can't just have like 150 random movies to get
Right.
200 shorts or whatever. Have they already, or is there any indication that there will be just like a standalone collection of all these shorts or anything like that? Because that would be really nice,
Yeah, I agree. It would be, especially if they were curated in any way, like themed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I don't have a problem with this. I just would be hesitant if this is the only place to get those, because it doesn't really make sense if that's what you're looking for.
And not to mention, like, if you saw one, why are you going to think, oh, yeah, it's on that random ass Frankenstein?
Exactly. I would never remember where any of it is,
Yeah.
Like, even if I had all of them, if I felt like watching, what was it, Pet the Cat or something, like I'd be like, I have no clue which one it was on, or Polka Dot Pussy or whatever it was called. Like, I'm like, which one? I don't know,
Oh,
a cat themed shorts, it would seem.
Next, 101 Films getting a couple red label titles. These are like the lesser titles that they put out. They're not the big special editions, so no slipcovers, hard boxes, anything like that. These are both coming from the Full Moon line. A lot of people had these previously from Full Moon. You got Shrunken Heads from 1994. As far as I can tell, no new extras. You got Video Zone behind the scenes, trailer, all that type of stuff. And then Creepazoids also coming on April 14th over there. This one, you got an audio commentary with the director that I believe was on the last release. What's going on, Steve?
Speaking of full moon, isn't there like a blood moon lunar eclipse tonight?
There is, yeah.
Nope.
Well, that and I mean, this cover like screams. Look at that, but also, how much of this like it screams AI though?
Oh, I'm into it.
Like, where's the other half of dude's finger? What? 1, 2, 3.
Do you think this is AI? It doesn't.
I mean, what is going on with this hand?
Fingers are pretty weird. I'm gonna give it to you. The fingers are pretty weird.
And then she's got a little half finger going on.
Okay, yeah.
What this looks like to me
from like a real concept, like a real drawing, but it looks like they finished it in AI or something,
Literally exactly what I was going to say. The original poster is mirrored. The creature is coming from the left side, and it looks like they just put it in there and called CSI and said enhance.
That makes sense. I think you're 100% right then. I think they threw the original poster in AI and had some instructions on top of it or whatever. But
which I got to be honest,
that original poster stick
is pretty rad, yeah.
I love weird creatures and, voluptuous women. These are things I enjoy, so I'm into it.
Speaking of weird creatures and voluptuous women, Starman from 1984 getting a standalone release. This was in the Columbia Classics Volume 4 box set. This is coming on May 27th in a steelbook only. Sony has not announced that it will be getting a standalone outside of the steelbook. The big thing is, as part of the extras in Columbia Classics, they also had the Starman TV series included in there. That is not included in this release. So there's still something very specific in that Columbia Classics box set. If you love this and you wanted that show, because that's a big deal. It's like a 22 series or 22 episode. Oh, there it is. Yeah, 22 episode follow-up series.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it's relegated to the box set. Personally, I'm not bothered because I have it. But if I didn't, I'd be like, oh, well, come on. Like, that's a bummer. But I guess I understand it. Silent Mandible. weird women and voluptuous creatures. I mean, ¿por qué no los dos? Right? You can have all of it, all four. I am a famous appreciator of weird women. So,
Have you ever seen Starman?
No, it's a good David Bowie song though. That's all I got.
I feel like you would really like this movie, actually.
Because it honestly, just from the very little that I know about it, nothing about it grabs me as like something that I would be interested in. But hearing you say that, maybe I'll prioritize checking it out sometime. Do you know if the TV show's any good?
No, I think I've watched one episode. I did not love it, so I never continued. I probably should. If anybody else has a different thought on the show,
put it on standalone.
It's
like,
yeah.
Hey, for posterity, here it is. But come on.
I mean, that is the current only way to get it is in that box set on any physical media, I believe. So, next up,
maybe they'll come through.
That is a possibility. Redwood Creek, who is a company out of somewhere in Europe, I think it might be UK, might be France. They've done a handful of these Kickstarter restorations. They are doing The Monster, Roland West's The Monster from 1925. This is going to be a region-free Blu-ray. There will be special features. It will be, let me see, I think it's going to be a BDR. Yes, going to be a 25 gig disc. Will be 1080p. I've also not heard great things about Redwood Creek's restorations. So I don't know if this is going to look amazing, but it will probably look better than it's ever looked before and probably be the last release of this film.
Yeah, this does kind of strike me as if you're a fan, this is kind of the way to go. Hi, Christopher. Thank you. That's very nice of you.
Is this one of the rare instances where Lon Chaney didn't appear in makeup? I believe so. And then Colton says the monster rules. TCM shows it usually when they do silent horror blocks. Very nice.
Shout out to TCM.
Is the monster of this movie voluptuous or weird? Is this going to be the next? Both. This is going to be the next Inspector Rex for the show, huh? We're just going to be talking about voluptuous weird monsters for the next month. Speaking of voluptuous weird monsters,
exactly.
Man Bear Pig Prophecy from 1979 coming on 4K from Kino on May 20th. This is a damn good movie. This is going to have a brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master, new commentary from Brian Reisman and Max Every. You also got a bunch of extras ported over from the previous Blu-ray release. Good movie, directed by John Frankenheimer.
I saw the first 5 minutes of this on 35 millimeter at a horror marathon, but it was at the point where I had to tap out and get something to eat, so I did not get to see it. But I've been meaning to finish it because my friend that went with me, he really liked it, so I'll have to check it out.
Good movie. Next, surprising out of nowhere, The Informant from 2009 is coming on 4K on April 15th from Warner Brothers themselves. Soderbergh, we just mentioned earlier, has 2 movies that as of tonight have come out already in 2025, and it's March 13th, which is insanity. So they're giving him a little love. Not only is The Informant coming out, we're going to talk about another one after this, but The Informant, have you seen this one?
Mm-mm.
Very good movie. I did not like it the first time I saw it, but on repeat viewing, this movie is great. I fucking love Soderbergh. His filmmaking is just incredible. Excited to see this one again on 4K. Matt Damon is very, very good in this. Interesting cast, too. Scott Bakula's in this. Joel McHale. Melanie Linsky's great in this. Good stuff.
I thought I didn't like his films for a little bit because I hate the Ocean's movies so much, but actually everything else I've seen I really like. So, like King of the Hill is probably his best movie. The movie's amazing. He's got other ones that I can't think of off the top of my head. The fucking dude has so many goddamn movies. So, be tough to.
He's also he's retired from filmmaking twice already and still going.
Yeah, that's like if you said you were retiring from this, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'll believe it when I see it.
Oh, look forward to that announcement next week. The next one, The Good German.
Well, hey, the way things are going, you never know.
That's sad but true. This is his other one, The Good German, with George Clooney, Kate Blanchett, Tobey Maguire. This is one I have never seen. This has been semi-difficult to see. This has been out of print, not on streaming, unless you were looking for this elsewhere. You could not see this. Supposedly a great movie. Yeah.
Nice. What year is this?
2006.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is also not just getting a 4K. This is also getting a Blu-ray release. This was never released in HD, even though this film came out in 2006.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And it's Soderbergh. So you would have thought that would have happened because he was pretty damn hot back then. This one sounds interesting. Cape Light and MPI is putting out Operation Raqqa from 2024 on May 20th. This is a Syria set film. It says, in the ISIS stronghold of Raqqa, the Russian spy Hibala is tasked with tracking down one of the most wanted leaders of the Islamic State, the Jordanian. The nurse Malika has also been assigned the same mission by European secret services. In the dangerous streets of the Syrian city, where everyday life is dominated by executions, the enslavement of women, and bomb attacks, both try to complete their mission by any means possible in order to bring down ISIS.
Well, that sounds like a delight.
Just a very optimistic story that I'd never heard of until this announcement.
No, I've never heard of it either. That poster is really terrible, but the premise sounds really good. So yeah, maybe get a glimpse into our future in America the Beautiful under fascist theocracy. Sorry, I know your audience complains when it gets too political, but
not only that, I had not looked at reviews at the show forever because I never care about that. But somebody asked a question about them, and so I went, "What?" And I went and looked, and one of the reviews is from like 4 months ago, I think, and it's this is so funny. It said the show is fine, but Ryan lets literally all of his guests, and then it says, like Will Dodson, rant about political things without stopping them. I'm like, what?
All right.
Because I don't say anything.
Policy agenda. Feel free to stop me at any point, or don't.
We just talked. We just talked about this recently, but Audie Murphy Collection #4 coming from Kino. We already got release details. It's coming on May 27th. We'll have The Kid from Texas, The Cimarron Kid, and Drums Across the River. This will have new commentary on The Kid from Texas by Gary Garani, and then new commentaries on the other two by C. Courtney Joyner.
Right on.
Oh man, everybody's comments.
Hey, better late than never. I mean, it really is hard to not be. No, I have not.
Dan wants to know if you've seen Schizopolis.
I'm not sure what that is, actually.
It is one of Soderbergh's most famous films.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't that go out of print on Criterion kind of recently?
I think so.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen
that. And Traffic is the other one that went out of print, I think.
Yeah, there was a 2 or 3, I think. Yeah.
All right. One of the more exciting things this week, Bit Ratio Video. This is a brand new boutique label. This is their first title. It's coming in Q4 of this year on Blu-ray in the US. This is The Crate Train Robbery from not 2003, like I almost said for some reason, 1903. This is an 11-minute short that was made. This is like one of the first groundbreaking sets of filmmaking that we have access to.
Depending on your definition, this is the first movie like ever.
Yeah, I've seen some people call it that.
If I remember correctly from my film class in college that I watched this in, like before this, there were like, here I am trying to be an authority speaking on film. I can't remember what they're called. Like the very early, like 1 minute or like 10-second like loops or like reels or whatever. Like, and this was the first film to actually have a narrative, like at all. If I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's interesting. It's good. Apparently people like shit their pants at the end of this one because it like, not to spoil the Great Train Robbery, but the guy turns to the camera and fires the gun. Apparently people, because like, you literally never seen anything like that before, and people fucking lost their minds.
So this is being digitally remastered by Siniste Restoration from an archival 35mm print provided by the Library of Congress. They've got all new musical scores composed by Manuel Moray. They've got some special features on this. They've got The Little Train Robbery from 1905. This is a follow-up short as well. We've got Sigmund Lubin's The Great Train Robbery from 1904, provided by Grapevine Video. American Pioneer, the story of Edwin S. Porter, a new documentary featurette narrated by Andrew Saladino. And I went and got some information on bit ratio. For those that have been following YouTube stuff for a while, this label is ran by Chris Della Sola. You might recognize that name from what I just read off here on the screen. It is the gentleman behind the Royal Ocean Film Society, or not, he's not behind the Royal Ocean Film Society. He's worked with them, and he's got his own YouTube channel. He's been working at this for a while. He is self-financing this. He has been working on this for the last 2 years, and this is a pretty big deal. Stan is asking if it's going to be affordable. Their website is up right now, and you can see that he's already got this priced at $24.99. You can't purchase it, but that is the max price. To me, honestly, I hope he's putting more bonus features on this, because it feels like there's very little on this disc for an 11-minute short. I mean, you should have, I don't know, like 10 different bonus features on here to talk about this is the original, first narrative feature, and all we're going to have is a new documentary feature narrated by somebody. You're not going to have a commentary on the 11-minute short itself. You're not going to have somebody else do a history of like nitrate film or anything like that. Come on, there's so much more that we
can. I was going to say there's definitely like film professors that would do lectures or whatever for this, or like I mean, if we're just going into silent era stuff, you could pack it with other stuff too, but like there's precedent for this. Like a few releases of A Trip to the Moon have been released, right? And they were more expensive than this, I think. So, but I'm sure that they had more stuff on them, because I think Arrow did it.
Arrow has put it out multiple times. They put out a big set of it. They also put out a steelbook of A Trip to the Moon, which is wild.
That's fun. Hi, Steve. Thanks. I guess I should check out Starman.
Yeah, Starman is great. Brendan is saying, LOL, the guy on my Facebook page that said something this old shouldn't have a Blu-ray. If you want to feel really awful about the current state of film preservation, go look at the people that comment on my stuff on Facebook. The discourse on this was just asinine. I'd
like to know the date cutoff for what deserves to be on Blu-ray.
Right?
Is it 1920? Is it 1950? I don't know.
No, for somebody like that, it's probably like 1991.
Whenever The Matrix came out, that's when it can start.
Film changed.
The lesser train robbery.
Sib has a good idea. Maybe you can include some other train robberies that aren't so great. I mean, I'll pitch them that.
I know it's 1999. I'm just saying, the person who would comment that would just be like, whenever The Matrix came out. Yeah, that's fine. Explaining jokes. We love it.
May 20th, Kino is releasing The Amorous Adventures of Mole Flanders from 1965. This had been announced previously with a coming soon date, and hey, we got it. This is starring Kim Novak and Angela Lansbury, and has a brand new audio commentary by David Del Valle and Daniel Kramer. Shout out Daniel. Should be on the show in the next couple months to promote something he's got coming up. We'll be talking about that soon. I've heard this is great. I've never been able to see this, but yeah.
I love the artwork. I'm sorry, subaquatic encounters of the dub kind, for slandering you. We just happen to be on the same wavelength. Very similar times.
Instead of saying the 14-word name, you can just say Ben.
Ben? All right.
Ben. Not Kino. Full Moon is releasing. Well, not. Dang, I'm all wrong on this, because this was today. They have put out the Strange Invaders and Unknown Worlds collection. This is available and shipping now. This is a 10-pack set of Blu-rays coming in a barely shrink-wrapped box, and on the side it's got what they're calling an exclusive art mural. Interesting choice. And each one is signed by Charles Band. Yes, this little card that is shrink-wrapped in this, they're calling an art mural.
Is it
Not,
separate, or is it just artwork on the box?
it's not even a box. If you'll see, it is literally. Let me zoom in. This is literally 10 Blu-ray cases just shrink wrapped together. You can see them.
That's so
There
strange.
is no
Okay.
box here. Basically, they're just trying to get rid of titles. And the cool thing is, these are Blu-rays, but this is $50 for 10 movies. That's pretty dang cheap. They're not great movies. There's a couple in this that are okay. But yeah, most of these are pretty poor.
I think shit talking full moon is like the bat signal for Will Dotson, so I'll expect to see him any moment now.
He'll be texting me. Watch. Yes, Ronnie is right.
He should be in the chat. Where the fuck is Will Dodson?
I think that might be my fault. I think he's working.
Oh, well, all right.
Sorry, Will. We've had a busy couple of weeks. June 16th in the UK, Dazzler Media is putting out Gangs of London Season 3. I got to be honest, I didn't know the show was still going. Is anybody still watching it? Is this still good?
I've never even heard of it, if I'm being honest.
Gangs of London is a show that was created by somebody that you may have heard of that is taking me a moment to Google. It was done by Gareth Evans. He is the martial arts guy behind The Raid and The Raid 2.
Okay. Neat. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Dustin has never heard of it. Well, it's, from what I remember, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It looks like comic book stuff from the artwork, but I'm guessing it's not.
It's very stylized action.
Okay.
So, kind of, I guess you could say comic booky. A couple more left.
Yeah.
Capote from 2005 getting a Blu-ray release again from Cape Light and MPI. It will be this media book option or the standard Blu-ray option. There's no information on this. This probably will not be like a new restoration or anything like that. This is just a way to get this out on disc again, because I believe it's out of print at the moment.
Okay, that was going to be my question, is what is the lateral upgrade happening here? Or is it just now back in print?
Yeah, just back in print. May 13th. I mean, this is a media book, so hopefully there will be some writing involved in it, at least. I don't know about any special features, but we shall see. Cape Light does okay work, usually.
I love this movie. I think it's great.
It is truly incredible. I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman is amazing, but the whole cast in this is great. Obviously, he's still the show.
It's if you want a film to sort of think about the death penalty in ways that are more compassionate and more nuanced, maybe this is one that I would recommend. And if you're a fan of In Cold Blood, this is kind of a meta textual thing about the process of writing that, and that's the original film is just excellent, and In Cold Blood is a great book too. This is a great film. So
nice. Warner Archive
I have questions about this.
Out of nowhere announced a new line. They had been doing the Collector's Choice. They had done 4 of those volumes already. This is now being called Looney Tunes Collector's Vault, Volume 1. This new collection will feature 50 animated shorts across 2 discs. Disc 1 will have 25 shorts that have never been remastered on DVD or Blu-ray. And then disc 2 will have 25 shorts that have never been on Blu-ray. So the first disc will be new to disc. It's never been on disc ever. The second one we're on DVD. They are now getting upgraded to HD. And they say in the near future, we will announce further details of this, including the name of the titles of the 50 classic shorts. But the volume 1 part is exciting. We are now continuing to get more and more and more of these, which is great.
So I'm going to guess that none of these repeat with the, 4 other ones that they've put out
Correct.
already?
None of these are on those 4 sets.
So why not volume 5? Like, what's the difference? I'm a little bit confused, you know?
I think they're highlighting on these that they are all newly remastered for HD instead of just some of them like the previous ones. I do kind of wish they had done either chronological sets or themed sets or
Yeah.
something.
I'm also kind of like, now it's just so scattered, you know. It's a little bit strange to compartmentalize in my mind, I think.
Well, beyond that, they have named things so many different things over the years. Like Dustin is asking, so none of these are repeats of the Platinum set. Which one is the Platinum set? I don't remember. Was that a DVD set? Because I don't think that was Blu-ray. If it was DVD, some of them may be from the Platinum set because they're upgrading 25 that were on DVD to now be on Blu-ray. But I don't know. This is weird. But I'm into it.
Yeah.
I love the Looney Tunes stuff. Oh, the Platinum set was Blu-ray before Warner Archive. Okay, so probably not then, because none of these have ever been on Blu-ray.
How many Looney Tunes cartoons are there? Like total?
Hundreds and hundreds. There are so many.
I mean, this is cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it, regardless.
Yeah, I mean, the first 4 sets were great. I hope they keep those coming too. I mean, no matter what, just if you're going to do it, fine. Just properly define them so we can understand them. That would be my only ask.
1999. That's funny. The other one is like the Tom and Jerry set that they put out, the CinemaScope collection or whatever.
Yep.
I'm not really sure what that entails. To me, I just want like, you know, either like eras or like just a year range and just put them all out. You know, that's what would make sense to me. Yeah. But whatever, as long as it's coming out, I guess, right?
I mean, I guess it would be nice if stuff was clearly defined. That's it. Or is this our last one? I think this might be our last one. Fun City Editions announcing that they are putting out from 1980 Breaking Glass. This is coming on Blu-ray soon. We don't have a release date yet. Pre-order for this should be up here very, very soon. This is the first ever official U.S. release of Brian Gibson's Breaking Glass, and it will have the original UK cut. The new restoration has been completed by Paramount Archive. The big thing is they're posting this now because it is playing at the Wisconsin Film Festival on April 8th. So you can go take a look at this if you are close to Wisconsin. I have wanted to see this for quite some time. Good Lord. Key-Ray went and looked it up. There are 1,041 Looney Tunes cartoons.
So in my mind, I'm like 100 episode volumes, 1 through 10, and then the last one on the 11th one for the last 41. And then that's it. Or maybe volume 10 has 141 on them. I don't know. That probably doesn't make sense if you actually are responsible for putting these out. But, you know,
I mean, logically it makes sense, but I know they don't have elements for everything. That's the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing is they have stuff that has still been banned or that they've not been putting out. So I don't know if they're actually going to start including those, which I hope they do. Steve is asking, are any of these uncensored and uncut? They all should be uncensored and uncut. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the collector's ones are explicitly marketed as not to show your kids and for like collectors, right? Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, this is exciting. I'm glad that Fun City keeps getting great titles that have either never been released or been neglected. So that's a very good thing.
I don't remember if it was this one. And since I can't remember the title, this isn't going to be very useful. But on one of the more recent episodes of Bloodhouse, Drusilla Adeline, Sister Hyde, was talking about something that she was working on or whatever, and just kind of straight up said a title and said that it was coming from Fun City Editions. And I was like, I don't think that's been announced yet. I think you might just leak something. And I don't remember what it was, but I was wondering if you were aware of that.
I had not heard that. I'm very behind on their podcast.
Yeah.
God, I need to get back to it because I love listening to them.
It's really good. Yeah.
All right. That is it for the week. It feels weird to be done with announcements. And it's only
I know. I was like, is that it? Are we done?
10:15 here. Going over what's coming out next week in case you forgot really quick. Deep Blue Sea 4K from Arrow, Godzilla 4K shipping from Criterion already. I'm sure you're getting that soon.
Well, when I can, you know.
Well, hopefully, yes.
Priority.
Thankfully, to be in print for a long time.
Well, hey, maybe this flash sale, because I've got coupons that I've just been stacking for a rainy day.
$25.
You know, so I'll probably grab that.
The Penguin, the complete series 4K next week. Moana 2, if you really wanted that movie and you wanted it on 4K, the only way in the US to get it is in this steelbook. Tommy 4K from Shouts.
That's still playing in theaters around here, or like was for a long time. I don't know. Kids movies make so much money.
They do. Yes, they do. The General's Daughter 4K, not a kids movie, very much a dad movie. Forbidden World 4K from Shout next week. The Last of Us, the complete, I believe this is the first season reprint of the steelbook. A Woman of Paris from Criterion, another Middle Earth 6-film collection.
Why not?
The year's big hit, Wolfman 4K steelbook.
All right. Y'all were talking shit on Wolfman with Chris or whatever. This movie's good.
I've not seen it. I'm dying to see it. Genuinely.
No, I know. I'm just. It's fine. Your guests were shitting on it.
That checks out.
Wolfman is good. I went to see it, and I'm genuinely confused by the backlash that it has received. It's not like, yeah, it is. It's not better than The Invisible Man. It's not better than Upgrade, and like its themes are pretty on the nose. But I think it's pretty good. I think it's atmospheric. I think it has cool effects. I think it takes some interesting swings. And as far as like a social issue horror film goes, I think it's pretty good.
I think it all hinged on that shitty Wolfman reveal that happened like October or whatever. That was way before they were ready to market this movie. And supposedly that's not even in the movie, or it's not in the movie that much or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's not very hairy. Like, it's kind of a different take on like a werewolf. He's not like a full like wolf guy or whatever. But like, I don't know. Like,
he's not a full wolf.
That's not like
he's a wolf man.
Yeah, he's a wolf man. You know, he's like a guy, but he's also a wolf. Like,
right,
whatever. Oh yeah, that was another critique I saw, is that there's no shots of the full moon. I was like, these are very bizarre surface level criticisms of a werewolf movie. Like, okay.
Well, and like most people loved Invisible Man, that was not a faithful adaptation of that original story.
No, it's not at all. And like, this is more faithful than that. So like, it's definitely kind of in the middle. And like, again, I'm not like sitting here and acting like it's a masterpiece. I just thought it was like pretty good, and people really shit on it. Dustin, it is very dark. Like, that film is very dark. So I was trying to urge people to see it in theaters. But yeah, if you weren't seeing anything, then that's a problem, because there's definitely stuff happening on the screen. But it is very dark.
I was, speaking of that, just talking to Ben recently about this, because Nosferatu, I've only seen it in the theater. I'm kind of worried about people that missed that in the theater and then watching that at home and going, oh, this movie's shit, because you can't see much, because that movie is like the darkest film I've ever seen.
It's pretty impressive what they managed to pull off, because low light cinematography is kind of famously difficult.
Let's see. Ash is saying, will Mono Macabre Halloween bundles ever arrive? Heard they started shipping, no tracking for me. Yes, I have tracking. So yes, they are shipping for sure.
Nice.
Next week, also Thirst 4K and Harlequin 4K from Indicator. Couple good movies. Glad people can get their hands on those. World War Z 4K steelbook from Scream Factory, if that's your thing.
All right, you ready for a hot take right now? Not only do I not like this movie, which is immaterial, that artwork is terrible and is way worse than the blaxploitation artwork.
So where was the hot take? Yeah, it's real bad.
I'm confused why people were so angry about the blaxploitation artwork, when to me, Shout Factory puts out a garbage-looking steelbook like every week. And I'm just like, I think they look terrible, but people buy them. So I don't know. I'm confused. But
I think people just like steelbooks. I don't get it.
Well, you also have many steelbooks, right?
I do, but it's not the same reason. I don't like. I've not been buying steelbooks because there's no more Best Buy. It's not easily accessible.
They're so expensive.
Yes,
I haven't bought a steelbook in years at this point. Like, really, since Best Buy closed, I've not bought a steelbook, at least not new, because they're like, what, $60 now? It's like, are you insane? Like,
Sony and Disney ones are starting at like $55, which is crazy. That's the big stuff for next week. Tulsa King season 2, Black Tulip from Kino, Half a Chance from Kino, Ho from Kino, The Godsend from Kino, Evil Dead 4K steelbook from Shout, Imaginary Heroes from Sony Pictures Classics. Losing Ground.
Losing
from
Ground.
Milestone. This is one I need to check out.
It's great. You should definitely get it. Like, the film itself is really good. I'm glad I never bought the Blu-ray because it's newly remastered and I think it has new features on it. But the other film that's on it is also really great. I actually like it better than Losing Ground. I forget what it's called. That would be a delightful reconnected with Slowcover Steve, just to see how long he can hold the bit for hours.
So this has absolutely crossed my mind multiple times. I have considered it. We'll see if it happens someday.
But real quick, Losing Ground is really important. It's one of the earliest films, American films, directed by a Black woman, and it's really good. So
you were asking about the other film. It says it includes a new 2K restoration of The Cruz Brothers and Miss Malloy.
Yeah, that's not the catchiest title in the world, but it is a great film, and I like it.
How did you not have that memorized? Before we go on to our big discussion, we just started talking about Steelbooks and Best Buy. I don't know the authenticity of this, but there are a couple rumors starting to swirl that Best Buy may be coming back to physical media.
Wow.
Maybe not in stores, but just online. And I would appreciate that very much. I mean, there's so much that it was better with them.
I'm going to say it. You called it. People were like, good riddance, who gives a shit? And I was also kind of like that because I had bad experiences with them. I was just kind of like, whatever. Now I don't have to feel like pressure to get some of these steelbooks that come out because they're fairly affordable and sometimes the only way to get, like, The Wicker Man in the United States, right? Or The Mist. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I got to deal with this. But you were right. I didn't think it would be this big of a hit in the competition or whatever, but prices just fucking skyrocketed like immediately. It's like, okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be like haha and everything, but man, it's been really sad to see stuff go. When we Lionsgate was the big one. Best Buy up until 2020, they were literally $19.99 for a brand new 4K steelbook, and then 2020 hit, and they were like, okay, $21.99, and we were like, fuck, $2 more. And now, I mean, Lionsgate Limited for the same exact quality is like $35 to start, and they're selling stuff that's $80, and that's not good.
Look. I know inflation is rough and everything is expensive, but like, Criterion has not increased their MSRP through any of this. It is inexcusable to double your prices the second you don't have to rely on a retailer. Like, that's,
to be fair,
price gouging. Like, come on.
To be fair, Criterion has stopped doing a lot of new stuff for discs. Let's just say that.
That's true. But like, okay, like, I don't know.
They've cut cost in other ways, is all I'm getting at.
That's probably fair. But like, I don't know. Like, a lot of these labels are not, like Kino too, and like Vinegar Syndrome. Like, the price of the subscription has remained relatively stable year to year and stuff like that. Just like, this is, $5 or something, but like doubling your price the second you're not at Best Buy. I mean, come on. It's just price gouging, I think.
Yeah, a lot of it is definitely price gouging. There is a lot of greed behind.
There you go. Craig saying the manufacturing costs haven't changed. That's shocking to me, but like, that's disappointing to see people take advantage of the perception of inflation, such that it exists. Hi, Dustin. Other Dustin.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yes, multiple Dustins. Okay, so tonight, adult film discussion time. I loved your intro to this beforehand. There's a lot of people that overlook these titles for multiple reasons. I will say, the current largest disc seller of these things is still the whole OCN corporation, whatever they are, because it's not exactly Vinegar Syndrome, but it's a bunch of people working together. I think they took a rather huge hit when they went over to a different website, but one of my goals tonight is to get some people to understand that these are worth your time. A lot of these are worth your watch. You will glean something, in filmmaking. You will see people that you recognize from other films. You will find huge name filmmakers that dabbled in adult films for a little while and literally laid out a full culture. I mean, you mentioned earlier like the seedy aspects of New York, but I mean, there's so much of 70s and 80s different like actual cultures that a lot of these capture, different areas of people that are not really caught on film anywhere else. So I'm excited to hear what you bring up tonight. I will warn everybody, I've not watched as many of these as I should have, so I'm not going to be able to talk as fluently as you will about these that I would love to. I do have 6 that I really wanted to highlight. So we each have a top 5. We'll share some honorable mentions, but all of mine are on disc and from Vinegar Syndrome, so I'll say that right now. These are ones that I've given a lot of appreciation through over the years, and most of these I believe you can still pick up, except for maybe 2. So
Nice.
We'll get into that. Why don't you go first? Your first pick.
Stan, I meant to make an egg joke at some point tonight, and you beat me to it. So, yeah, yeah. Everything's gone to shit, but eggs. What can you do? We're all beholden to eggs. It's very funny being a person who's been vegan for 10 years, listening to everybody freak out about eggs. I'm just kind of like, you don't have to eat eggs. Like, it's fine. Justin, I'm not going to be talking about The Passions of Carol. You will have to listen to the Punk Vacation episode on the Valentine's Day special, because it is fucking bizarre. But I have 16 films that I'd like to talk about, but 5 of them are the ones that I'll talk about in depth. The others I'll just run through kind of briefly. Of my top 5, I did not grab them, by the way. I apologize. It's a physical media show, and I am discless, as it were.
What's funny is I normally don't, and I did grab most of mine. I'm missing
Nice.
one, but
all right,
yeah.
Cool. Of my list, 3 of them have been put out by Vinegar Syndrome, and 2 have not. So, but they all are available on Blu-ray. So
nice.
You said I'm going first? Okay. I struggled between this and my kind of runner-up that we'll talk about in my honorable mentions, and I'm almost positive this is going to be on your list. So maybe we'll start off with a banger. Sex World. I love Sex World. Is that where is that on your list?
It was going to be number 4, but I'll just say number 5 so that we can talk about it at the same time.
Right on. This is the answer that I give when people, or like this is the example that I give when I'm trying to kind of sell people on this as like a legitimate art form, or like the reason why you would sit down and watch a feature-length pornographic feature. Because I think that this is maybe the film that justifies its existence as pornography the most, in terms of like it is relevance to its own plot or something like that. Because a lot of these films you're going to write in, you're going to make them romances, or you're going to make them about like nymphomaniacs, or like about incestuous relationships, or like you're also going to put a lot of rape scenes in a lot of these movies, because that's a way that you can create tension and have sex in your movie, even though I think we understand that sex and rape are different things. But like to check the box for the producers, like that's a way to get that in your script, right? But this one, there's really not a way you could do this idea well without making it pornographic. And like Westworld attempts to kind of get to these ideas on a kind of a surface level, but to really explore them, this is the one you have to watch. So if you're not familiar, Sex World is basically, it's not really a parody so much as it is like, let's take an element of this idea and like take it to its logical conclusion. But it's like Westworld, but it's just the sex parts. So like people go there and have like the sex robots or whatever, and like they can do whatever they want. They can fulfill all of their strangest or most deviant or most socially unacceptable kinks or fantasies or whatever. And that manifests in really interesting ways. And I think it says a lot about the people who made it and the audience that it's going for, like what is considered to be deviant and what it would look like to have those kind of fantasies fulfilled without consequence, right? So you have people that want to cheat on their wives. You have women that want to explore being lesbians. You have, there's even a character who is like a white supremacist who wants to try having sex with a black woman. And like, that's kind of questionable for sure, but it's played out in a way that's really interesting, where she kind of gains a lot of power in that interaction. And I just think that idea in and of itself is fascinating, and there's really not a way you can explore it honestly without it being a pornographic film. So, and it's also like, it looks great. Like, it's shot beautifully. It's not just like a porn parody. Like, it's a genuinely really good film. So the 4K looks great too, by the way. I bought it literally as a novelty because I was like, oh, the first pornographic feature on 4K, that's fun. Let me buy that. And then I watched it. I was like, oh, this is good. I like this. So yeah, that's my number 5.
I love that you mentioned the introduction part, because that was the biggest thing I was going to say for this. I mentioned on here before that like a lot of people that love 80s horror have been very confined to the US. So one of the ways that I say, like, hey, branch out, let's try new things. If you're wanting to get into Italian horror, I always say, like, to me, Demons is the best way to bridge that, because it seems very silly 80s and also sort of very Italian in nature. So it's kind of like a perfect melding of the two. But this is literally like the perfect melding of like decent acting, really great storyline, a film with well shot sex scenes, a film that is driven by a hardcore plot, and it is just great. And it's going to sound really silly when I talk about my next one now, because this movie is like genuinely better than most of the movies that they've put out through the hardcore stuff. But it's just a matter of what is enjoyable for you, I guess. But yeah, Sex World is certainly worth it. Everybody should check it out. It is, I don't know, it's also just very authentic in the way that it's written and the story that it's telling, because like you said, it's a logical conclusion. It's not something that is being shoehorned into a a requirement from a cheap little Z-grade studio just to be able to pump films out. This is something that actually has art behind it.
Yeah, for sure. Also, they put out a dope Sex World shirt that I want really bad in the most recent Valentine's Day sale. And I couldn't afford it while it was up, and now my size is out of stock. But if they restock mediums, if somebody wants to buy it for me, I'll just tell you that I will wear it to work, and I work in a church kitchen. So that's your incentive to buy that
for me. I love it. You introed that last one, so I'll do my next one, even though that we've both had the same number 5 there. My number 4, unfortunately, this is not available anymore, I think. This, again, very silly to follow up Sex World with this, but Hot and Saucy Pizza Girls, just because it is so damn funny. Hot and Saucy Pizza Girls was like the Vinegar Syndrome sex title for a while. It was the one that they were most associated with. They've had multiple T-shirts that they made to go with this. And literally this story is, it's about a pizza company that you call to order things, and they bring you a pizza and more. And it's not exactly a tasteful movie. I mean, there's literally what they call a chicken rapist in this. But it's just, a lot of the comedy is pretty funny. And obviously the story itself is sort of, the sex is important for the story, but it is not important in the Sex World way. It's definitely in a way that is just a comedy from Bob Chin, who has done a lot of these types of movies. And it's nowhere near the art form that Sex World is, but it's an enjoyable watch.
So between that and Pink Flamingos, do we have a chicken rapist cinematic universe going?
Honestly, yeah, I could see that being in the same universe for sure.
I've seen this movie, kind of.
It's a very silly movie.
I started watching it, and the person I watched it with and I started having sex. So it was just on. So I've not really watched it. I've been meaning to rewatch it, but I've watched about 15 minutes of it, paying attention. And I caught some of the rest. So,
It's just very cheesy humor. That's it.
Cheesy, huh?
That's why I said it. Yep.
Okay.
Cheesy and
Dustin,
saucy. It's your turn.
I do, in fact, work in a church kitchen, but it is making jam for a queer trans-owned company, and we just rent out the kitchen. But they're actually very nice people. They're causing me to reevaluate my very hardline stance on Christians and religious people. It's kind of annoying, honestly, that they're so sweet and nice to us.
All right, your number 4.
My number 4 is Malabimba. This is an Exorcist
Great
sort of
movie.
ripoff. Speaking of voluptuous women, Jesus Christ. So I think that I gravitate towards this one because there's nuns in it. We don't need to get into that, but also because it's like shot in a like real castle in like
it's
Italy.
gorgeous.
It's like the same set that some other big films used. I forget which ones, but like it's a pretty common like set that was used, and like it's just, I don't know, like it's just really good. Like it's just really well shot. The aesthetic is on point. The acting is quite good, honestly. Like the actors go for it. Like you see the like kind of the woman who's playing the nun, like the kind of Malabimba, Malabimba. She plays the like temptation aspect of like being drawn to like sapphic sexuality and stuff really well. The girl who's like losing her damn mind and like being possessed and being insane or whatever is also really good. Like it's a little bit questionable because the character is underage, though I don't believe the actor is.
Right.
But you know, it's The Exorcist. That's part of the original text as well. So it's and like, you know, burgeoning sexuality, that's the age that sort of thing happens. So I don't know, I don't really have much else to say about it other than the performances are really good and the aesthetic is a fucking vibe. Like it is literally like a beautiful, gorgeous castle, and you're just shooting the most like depraved shit that you can think of, and I really like it. So that's my number 4.
This and oh god, what is the other one? Dracula Sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Both very beautiful scenery. Like you can just get lost watching the background of these two films. There's so much just voluptuous scenery. It's genuinely great to watch. It's
That's
incredible.
the word of the night, huh?
It is.
Dracula Sucks didn't make my list or my honorable mentions, but I do really like it. And what another something that I like about it, and I actually mentioned it in my Nosferatu review as like suggested viewing for people who like Nosferatu, is that it's really nasty. Like it's a gross movie. Like there's a lot of like very viscous blood and stuff going on there. It's not that erotic unless you're like really into blood, honestly. Like it's kind of gross. So I like that one too.
I guess we probably should bring that up too. A lot of these are not even necessarily made to be erotic. Like Jack just brought up Cafe Flesh. Cafe Flesh isn't that erotic of a film, but it's very much an adult film. The next one I'm going to talk about, not really an erotic film, but they are very much like shown in these like Andy Milligan specific type theaters in New York in 1983 that people went and saw. I mean, it's 42nd Street through and through. Yeah, a lot of these are not meant to be, hey, let's grab your girlfriend and get off together type of films. It's just genuine cinema, but happens to have hardcore. On that note, Roger Watkins' Corruption is genuinely like borderline masterpiece from the Vinegar Syndrome catalog. This is the other one that I believe is not available anymore. I think it's fully out of print.
It's a bummer.
I hope
I hope they do a Melusine upgrade of it.
4K,
honestly,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really great disc. The film here is a big deal because Jamie Gillis, who's in, I don't know, 114 of the films that Vinegar Syndrome has put out.
He's literally gonna be at the top of my Letterboxd stats at some point because it's like every time I put one of these on, I'm like, "There's my boy, there's Jamie, yet again."
And speaking of Dracula Sucks too. This movie is very, very good. It's basically a like revenge-filled debt type of plot where Jamie Gillis owes a debt and his daughter is forced to pay some of that debt in ways that is very unsavory. And what's great is it does come across as like this very stylish, like super art house, very, very like dreamy 70s film that you can truly get lost in this world. And it's just a a unique film. It's one that I was very happy to see for the first time. And like Jack is saying, if you're lucky enough to have the original Vinegar Syndrome disc, there is a bonus film that's hidden on the disc that people have wanted on Blu-ray for a long time. It's not a great print of the film. They were supposedly for the last like 8 years working on another release of it, but it's still not here yet. Yeah, Last House on Dead End Street is involved on this disc, and I will be completely honest. When I first bought this, it was to watch Last House on Dead End Street, and Corruption is by far the best thing on this disc. Last House sucks compared to this movie.
Oh
Corruption,
man, I'm gonna hard disagree with you on that.
Corruption is so much better.
Oh man, okay. Let me get into it. So I bought this disc for Corruption. I had heard just nothing but great things about it, and Last House on Dead End Street. It doesn't have subtitles. It's like a grindhouse print. It's just kind of like it's like, hey, this is a fun extra for you. And I just kind of checked it out just to sort of see what it looked like. So for Corruption, I think my expectations were too high. Like people had really talked this up and called it like Lynchian, which it is, but also I just think my expectations were too high. I'd like to watch it again, knowing what it is on its own merits, and I think I'd like it better the second time. I do have the Corruption pin that they sold too, because it was like $2 or something on the last sale, and I was like, sure, throw that in. So that's fun, but I do think it's great. It's not on my list because I kind of figured you would talk about it, but it is really good. The Last House on Dead End Street, the first like 30 minutes of it, because I was just kind of like enjoying the grimy aesthetic of it, but I was like, this movie's terrible. Like it's so bad. Like the dubbing and the edit, like all of it. I was like, this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And then at a certain point, it flips and becomes one of the most deranged, uncomfortable things I've ever sat through. And by the end of it, I felt gross and I felt like genuinely disturbed, which is not something that happens to me often. But this felt like I was watching a snuff film, and I think it's great. I really like
it's good for sure. I really like Corruption more. This is really cool. Our friend Vance here says when Vinegar Syndrome was promoting the Dracula Sucks 4K, he bought one, and they were offering a drawing for everyone who ordered it. He won a Dracula Sucks film canister. That's pretty rad.
That would be a fun thing to have in the collection, for sure. Yeah, and I will buy it if they ever put out a cleaned up version of it, but that grindhouse look to it, it kind of adds.
It fits so well.
Like the fact that I feel like I'm watching something that shouldn't exist.
Yep.
And actually, that's another, because it's the same director, right? So like that's an example of like a cult film that people like, which is surprising to me given how deranged it is. But of a director who like kind of also did hardcore stuff. So if you're like into that kind of thing, like you should give it a go.
Absolutely.
My number 3.
Yes.
You can't get this one anymore, unfortunately, and you also can't get Malabimba anymore. I really hope that they reissue some of these in some capacity, like under Picorama or under Melusine or something. Because I understand they want to do away with the Vinegar Syndrome branding for this stuff, but like, I mean, they got some bulletproof classics under this banner that should be reissued in some capacity. And people will complain, but whatever. My number 3 is the same director as Corruption, actually. I think. Let me double check that. Let me fact check myself. But her name was Lisa. Yeah, Roger Watkins. Oh. This movie's amazing. It's so good. Like, I mean, okay, it's number 3 on my list. So it would be redundant to say it's one of the best hardcore films I've ever seen.
Right.
It really is. Like, it is a feel-bad pornographic movie, for sure. This is absolutely, like, Roger Watkins had a script and was like, how do I get this made? I will add hardcore scenes and then it will get made. This is like a very compassionate but also like rough portrayal of like a woman who is exploited by various men throughout her life. And there is like a really great lesbian scene in it that is like shot beautifully and is really tender and like erotic, but also touching, especially in the context of the film that it shows up. Sasha said it right. It's the saddest porn I've ever seen. It is fucking sad. Like, And it will switch from being like genuinely very beautiful and tender to being like very sad and very dark and very disturbing. You know, content warnings for this one. It's a lot of sexual assault in this one, but yeah, I don't know. In terms of like, we're going to reach for this comparison again. It's kind of like the way that David Lynch portrays violence against women, or like the hardships of just being a woman in America, and the ways that people take advantage of you. And it's just shot gorgeously. Like, it looks amazing. The print, the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray looks fucking gorgeous. Like, it's so good. Yeah, I think this one goes under the radar, and like Corruption is generally the one that people go for, and like I understand why. It's definitely more unique. It's more singular. It's easier to sell to people, I think. But this one I think is really special. So if you've never seen it, check it out.
I have still not seen Her Name Is Lisa. I need to see this.
I imagine you have it, right? Because you have all of them.
Yeah. Oh, I did. I started getting rid of some of my VS stuff.
Really?
I did. Yeah.
You're
yep. I don't. I am incomplete. And unfortunately, if you're after all of these, you won't be able to get this either. I thought this was still in print, and I apologize. My number 2 is the movie that surprised me the most at buying one of these, and that is what I think is maybe like the most underrated film, or I hate using that term improperly. It's probably the most underseen film in the Vinegar Syndrome library, and that is The Telephone Book. This movie is so good. It's about a girl who's like this hippy-dippy girl who is just sitting there, and she gets a phone call, and it's an obscene caller, and she literally falls in love with him and says, I have to go find him. And it's literally just like a version of a road movie. Like, it's her going through all these random meetings to try to find this person, and it's hilarious and weird and shot beautifully. This movie looks incredible. Most of it is black and white, and then there's this random ass like beautiful stark animation scene that happens that comes out of nowhere. The Telephone Book is hilarious. It's so well done. Again, not a sexy movie. You're not really buying The Telephone Book to get your rocks off. It's just a fun story that happens to be centered around this culture. There was obscene callers for a long time that did this sort of thing. There was no caller ID. People got off on that, and it was a big thing. And this was the opposite. Somebody enjoying it and wanting to seek that out. And it's a very unique take on that. And it's a great movie. Again, I think this has oh god, what is the name? Norman Rose is in this, who's in a couple of the other things I believe that VS has put out. But yeah, this is like one of the best underground cult movies ever. Love this movie.
Yeah, I didn't know this was an adult title, because it's on the Vinegar Syndrome site regular too.
It was. I think it went out of print before the whole Mill-Using thing.
So it was available. I mean, some of their titles are. Some of their titles are on both websites. It's I don't know how they make that determination. I imagine it's very arbitrary, but I almost bought it. I almost bought it at the most recent sale, and then I didn't because it doesn't have subtitles on it, and I figured maybe they'll reissue it one day or something, and it was going out of print, so I was like, they might redo this one. I
hope somebody does.
I'll probably check it out in some capacity. I might put it on my Plex server, or like wait until somebody reissues it or whatever, but I haven't seen it yet. I know that that's like one of Sam Deegan's favorite movies, so I've certainly been meaning to see it.
Now I'm curious if we have the same number 1 because of what you said, but we'll talk about that later. Go ahead. Your number 2.
My number 2 is Fred Halstead, LA Plays Itself. Man, this movie is so good. If you're into like art films, art movies, weird shit, this is it. I don't know if this is in print anymore because it's Altered Innocence. I imagine you could still get it somewhere, but you can't get it through OCN, obviously. But if you can, I don't know if the slipcover. I think the slipcover sold out under OCN, so I don't think it's still available. But regardless, it's a collection of all of his films, or at least all the ones that are available. Sex Tool is also on it, and quick shout out to that one too. But this is the one that I liked better. The construction of it is just really, I don't know, it really stayed with me. Like, it starts out in this really beautiful, like, scenic sex scene by like a waterfall outside. And it's gay porn. So, you know, if you're weird about that, I guess know that going in. But like, you don't have to be into men or like gay to enjoy these films. Like, I'm not particularly into men and I enjoy these films, right? Like, but it's just shot like, this was a genuine, I think, auteur, like a genuine artist creating porn, which, like, I think can be art. And this is like maybe the quintessential example that I would use to prove that to people. But there's like a recorded conversation that the director has with this other person that just kind of plays out over all these, well, somebody go scoop it, one left at Diabolic. I'm just saying, you should go get it. What was I gonna say? Oh, it's just kind of like this narration that plays over different scenes of LA photography, and then there's like different vignettes of different sex scenes and different stuff like that. It's hard to describe because it's so abstract, but it's definitely like a mood or like a vibe or like an aesthetic, you know, like we're not operating on like plot structure or even really that much in the way of eroticism. I mean, maybe if you're like really into this sort of thing, you'll get more of that than I did, but I just thought it was a really beautiful exercise in editing and cinematography, and almost like philosophy, like the ways in which he's discussing, like the ways in which LA has changed over the years. It's just kind of like an interesting meditation on the place that you call home no longer like resembling what it did in like your formative years or whatever. But it just looks gorgeous, and it's really great. Yeah, I don't know. I hope I sold it well or whatever, but it's a hard one to describe. Sex Tool is more straightforward in terms of just having a lot of sex in it. Shout out to that one. Okay, I'm going to say something. All right, I'm going to open my heart and say something right now. Gay men are fucking freaks. Straight up. Dudes get into, I didn't know was possible until I watched it on film. Like in Sex Tool, okay, I know this is possible. It wouldn't occur to me to do this to somebody or ask somebody to do this to me. Like, there's a sex scene where this guy gives this other guy a DIY nipple piercing, like in the middle of the scene, like outside. Like, woof. It's hard. It's a little rough to watch, to be honest. But it's you know, that's what I like. I like the weird shit. But at the end of LA Plays itself, this man fits his entire arm up another man's ass, and I'm just like, and this is not, you know, it's not me. It's like a buff guy doing this shit. I'm taking it back. I don't know. I think now I've sold it. If I didn't before with my more intelligent commentary, like, if you want to see it, fit
one left at Diabolic, everybody. This one there gets it. What? Oh man, that was perfect.
It happens. Stan out here confirming.
And somehow I have to follow that up. My number one was.
What's your number two?
Telephone book. We switched because we both said number 5. I started going first at number 4 then.
Oh, okay.
My number 1 is one that was recently released through Melusine. This is one that I'd heard about a year and a half ago for the first time from our dear friend Miss Erica Schultz, who had written about it in the Physical Media Advocate as needing a Blu-ray release. And not only did we get that, we got a 4K in this gorgeous Melusine release of Through the Looking Glass.
There it is.
Why is this amazing, Celeste?
Oh man! So this was my undercard pick. I wasn't sure if I wanted to pick this or Sex World for number 5. I did a pretty in-depth review of this for Punk Vacation because it was the only release that month, and boy, there was a lot to talk about. I wanted to make this point earlier, but I think I didn't want to spoil that this wasn't on my list yet. Well, Ronnie, you know, you get what you pay for when I'm on the show, right? You get good fisting content. Dustin, you should watch it. the Fistus is good. So this is one. I was going to make the point earlier that not only are some of these films not erotic, but there is almost a sense of contempt for the audience. Like, oh, you wanted to get off? Yeah, we're going to make you watch this instead.
Fuck you, you little freak, yeah.
The film that came to mind is The Passions of Carol, where this dude is genuinely like a psycho freak, like pervert, and we love him for it, but also like he has a scene of like people playing like young teenagers, like tweens or whatever, like they're fully adults, so like you're not, it's not that weird, but like they're like doing a scene, like it's like a flashback where they're like supposed to be really young, and they're like using doll parts as like sex toys, and it's like so bizarre, and it's so like there's a very, very specific sliver of people that would find that erotic, but like watching the commentary, he's just kind of like, yeah, I liked fucking with the audience, and I'm just a fucking weird guy, so this is what I came up with. This one, how do I describe this?
Directed by the same guy that did Just Before Dawn, by the way, like, which is another one of my favorite movies. I love Just Before Dawn.
I've not seen it. I'll have to check it out. But this guy he got his start in adult films just because that was the easiest avenue with which to start making films. He was funded by his church to make his first hardcore feature, which is included on that set. It's called Cherry.
Yeah, it's a double feature.
It's fucking terrible. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But it is just a series of incestuous sex scenes. That's all it is. It's just incest after incest after incest. And like a church funded this. Maybe not as shocking as you would think. But after that, he was raised in the South, and he was raised very religious, and like, according to the supplemental features in the interviews and everything, he didn't feel super great about the fact that he was getting his start in what he considered to be like immoral filmmaking. And he knew he had to deliver another one before he could get out of it. But he was like, how do I show people like the error of their ways, and that this is like sinful behavior that will lead to bad outcomes or whatever? So he made a porn film about incest and hell and all this like insane shit. And like, yeah, it makes sense when you think about it in that lens, that this is actually like low-key Christian propaganda being like, hey, the wages of sin, right? Like that's what happens. But also like, come on, man. You're going to tell me that you made like 3 films in a row about incest and you're not like a fucking freak? Like, are you kidding me? Like, come on, dude. Let's be honest here. Like, there's something going on here. But it's really beautiful. It's just got some really bizarre schizoid fucking horror imagery. And like, this is the one that I would pull for like, if you're like a real horror freak, like if you're into Lucio Fulci kind of thing, and you're like, well, I don't know about these pornographic films, I'd be like, let me tell you about Through the Looking Glass. Completely deranged. Yeah,
and it's
your number one.
Genuinely good filmmaking. Like it's ethereal in some points. Like there's a lot of this weird supernatural touches that are just like only somebody into crazy stuff could get this on film like this. And the whole Through the Looking Glass idea that it's playing on is interesting enough, but when you add the unique touches that this film has, it just takes it up to another level. Like you can't see this anywhere else. It is such a great take. And again, this is the first time it was ever on Blu-ray, first time it was ever on 4K. This is one of those movies that people have talked about needing a better release for like the longest time, more accessibility. And then they come out and drop just this freaking amazing release of it. And it's a double feature. Yeah, the other feature's not great, but it's not even good. But they actually
still had fun watching it because it's so bad. And like, I'm glad that it's out there,
And there's a new commentary with the director that did Just Before Dawn. Like, that's huge. When are we getting stuff like that on releases? Love that this is out there. I'm so glad that Erica wrote about this. And the moment that, this specific imagery is from the poster. It's been around for a long time and it's been burned into my brain. Like, I want to be able to see that someday. And the moment they announced it was like, oh, I can't wait. Like why would I not buy this day one? I have to. And so yeah, it had to come on with me. So glad it did. This movie, it was a clear number one. This was like an immediate adult favorite the moment I saw it.
Yeah. When this was announced, just from everything I'd heard about it, again, our friend Sam Deegan is somebody who really champions this one, and I was just like been wanting to see it. Yeah, when this was announced, I just texted Chris and I was like, "Don't bother Venmoing me for this. I'm just gonna buy it. Like, I want this one." Yeah.
All right.
I gotta say, the last 15, 20 minutes of that are some of the most unerotic scenes I've ever seen in my life. I mean, just heinous shit. Like, but shout out the actors for going through what they went through in that scene. Like, Jesus Christ.
And the actors, by the way, are names. Like, they are people that you've seen from other stuff. I mean, Jamie Gillis, I already mentioned that he was going to be in it, but Catherine Burgess is in this, who was in Cinderella 2000, and then Terry Hall, Kim Pope, Roger Kane, who was in Martin, is in this. And I mean, the weirdest thing that I didn't think about this before going on here, but one of the composers of this film has been on my show. Harry Manfredini did some of the score on this, and he's the composer for the original Friday the 13th. That's crazy.
Nice. I'll have to check that out. That's fun.
Number one.
This is available on Blu-ray. Excuse me, from Synapse Films. Undercrack.
Yeah,
I fucking love this movie. I fucking love this movie so much. When I heard just the first few things about this, I was like, that's gonna be one of my favorite movies. Like, I gotta check this out. And I rented the Blu-ray and I checked it out. And I attempted to watch it with other people, but they were not about it. And I finished it by myself.
Why not, Celeste?
This is a 3-hour black and white art house horror porn film.
Undercrack rules. I don't know why I didn't think of this. This should have been like number 3 on my list.
I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it is so singular. There's nothing else like it that I've seen. Maybe it exists, but this disc also, by the way, has like a documentary about the star/writer, one of the main guys. It's really good. So check that out too. But I don't know. Like, it's like the old Dark House premise, but if the person at the old Dark House was like an old woman who is also like a single pervert who like peeps in on all the guests having sex with each other, and like I don't know. It's just so gorgeous. Like the black and white cinematography. It's just I don't know how to describe it, to be honest with you.
Can you imagine how this could look on 4K?
That's why I haven't bought it. I'm like, please, someone.
I would love to see a Melusine release.
Amazing.
Yeah. When they did the image, the first thing I thought was, oh, please do Thundercrack next.
The image is great, by the way. I watched that the other day. It's something. I enjoyed it. If you're a real fucking masochist, if you're a real fucking sub, check that out. You'll like it. Yeah, I don't know if the elements are there. I hope so. But like,
I mean, the Blu-ray looks great.
It does look like it could be improved upon. Like, I like the ways in which it looks perfect, but I don't know. Even if it's like not perfect elements, I'm sure you could get a 4K scan and HDR that shit, and it would look great. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about it? I'm like struggling to articulate my thoughts on this because it's just so singular.
The image is one that, again, like, you know, we just saw a commenter say it's porn. I had no idea. This is one that has eluded some people because it doesn't look like an adult film. It's never really advertised as an adult film, but it truly starts like a cliche horror movie in this just random out of nowhere, like, Gothic style mansion. And yeah, there's just a hostess, and there's a couple hours of weird misunderstanding situations with this whole bunch of people in it. Yeah, this movie is great. It looks good. It is certainly not one that I would say is the most erotic film out there either. But yeah, it's absolutely worth watching. It is beautiful to look at. Yeah, I would love to see a 4K, truly.
Yeah. I mean, there's scenes in it that I think are erotic depending on what you're into, but it certainly
Yeah.
doesn't maintain that for 3
No.
hours.
No.
I'm just, it's been a little bit since I've seen it at this point, and I'm just kind of want to watch it again. Like, it's just so crazy. I don't know, just like a melodrama, histrionic, like unfettered kind of structureless sort of art house bizarro character study. It's so good.
The old dark house thing is totally on point, because there are scenes in this that does feel very like old Hollywood, like ripped out of lots of those films.
Absolutely. It feels like you're watching like a 1940s film out of classic Hollywood, but like if they managed to get away with the shit that's in there, you know?
It's not pre-code, it's fuck the code. I guess I should say my one honorable mention before you go through yours. I was trying to find it on the shelf and I couldn't find it fast enough. Another one that is not in print anymore, so I apologize, but A Woman's Torment is a really great movie. It's this very melodramatic, like proto-slasher type movie. And it is a take on a movie that is done by somebody who's a terrible person. So I would much rather watch this than some of Polanski's stuff. Woman's Torment is done by a woman very tastefully. And yeah, check it out. It's a great movie.
That's on my honorable mentions list. That's another one that I think I had too high expectations for. And like... And I was expecting like kind of a Polanski level film, and it isn't. Yeah. Like, you know, it's definitely more rough around the edges, a little bit more amateur, like, but it's really good. Like, again, if you temper your expectations a little bit, like I genuinely, people were like telling me it was as good as what's the film that it's Repulsion. People were saying that it was as good as that, and I've not seen Repulsion, but like, despite everything, Roman Polanski is one of my favorite filmmakers.
He's a great filmmaker,
yeah. And so that's what I was expecting, and you know, it's not on that level, but it is really, really good for what it is, and like for like a micro budget, like singular, you know, kind of thing. Like Roberta Findlay is one of my favorite filmmakers and one of my favorite people. Like she rules, and her name is going to come up a couple times, but like.
And it's like, if I remember right, I think it's a single location for most of it. I think the intro is in a
yes.
Yeah, it's like a 2-minute intro and then one apartment, I guess, or building for the rest of it. Anyways, great movie. Go ahead with your list.
Her commentaries are always fun.
Yes, they are.
That Bresson double feature is one that I meant to pick up while I could, and it never happened. So I've been meaning to get that. But they just put out another double feature of his films that I'm excited about, or they just announced it anyway. So I'll need to catch up on my Arthur joints. I'm just reading Craig's comment. An unofficial trailer for a film we're doing later, but directly from the filmmaker I watched. Yeah, that's pretty vague. I don't know. All right, my honorable mentions. I watched this the other night. Bijou. Wakefield Pool.
Wow. Yeah.
This is another gay film. If you've seen Pink Narcissus, I was struggling to think whether or not that counted. I just kind of filtered out the adult films mega list on Letterboxd and then used it that way just to decide what counted and what didn't. If it's like marked as an adult film on Letterboxd,
right,
that one isn't, but it's very similar in that it's like kind of plotless, very like single location, heavy on in-camera effects and crazy lighting, abstract imagery, lots of dicks, you know, that kind of thing. But it's great. Like, check it out. The Vinegar Syndrome DVD is out of print. All of his stuff is not available at this point. I'm hoping that they can do a set of it at some point. Hello,
yeah,
can we make that happen?
I keep expecting to hear that there's like a full Blu-ray box set coming any of these months.
That would be great. But in the meantime, It's on my Plex server. Patreon.com/Celeste Cabra if you want to see it.
What's funny is I just noticed that I think it was like 2 nights ago that you added it on there. That was fun.
I got Boys in the Sand on there too, but I didn't get to watch that in time. His other films I couldn't find. I wanted to get all of them on there, but those are the only 2 that I could find. So yeah, it's again, it's hard to describe. It's just about a man who goes to like a place where I think, you know, the idea is you can pay to go in the room, and then it's like a cruising spot essentially, and then like it's just like this phantasmagorical like art house sort of. I don't know. It's great. So check it out. The next one, this is a weird one. Let me pull up the year so I don't get this wrong. From 1928. I bet you weren't expecting that. Messe Noir. This is a 9-minute film of a satanic orgy. It's sick. Pull it up somewhere. You can find it on the internet. I don't know. Silent film, satanic film. Check it out. Next is another one that's unfortunately out of print, The Naughty Victorians. This is a Vinegar Syndrome joint. This one is based off of a book, so it's got like that kind of literary prestige to it, but the production design is kind of astonishing. Like, again, like you kind of grade these on a curve when you're watching them, because like the people who they don't give a shit. They're just like, film the sex scenes, and so like anything that you can get away with on top of that is like extra. And so sometimes you end up with these kind of ornate productions that either, I don't know, they like tricked somebody into giving them the money for that, or like it's just, they managed to do it with like what was on hand or whatever. I think this is the latter. There's some really cool props in this, and like it's kind of a nasty film. Like it's not, I mean, unless you're into some pretty rough stuff, it's not like a fun watch or whatever, but like it's well, I don't know. Your mileage. I don't want to get too personal, but it looks great, and it's well written, it's well acted, and the production design is really cool. So there's that one, and the ending is I'm not going to spoil it, but it has to be seen to be believed. It's pretty shocking. Next one, you can still get this one, but not for long. So go get it. 10:30 p.m. Monday from 1975. This is a bonus feature on the Sex Demon set from AGFA. That is a single press. There are 2 bonus films on it, and this was my favorite of them. Sex Demon is good, but I liked this one better. Again, this is a more kind of abstract, I don't know what it is with gay men and making fucking weird movies, but I'm all about it. Like, a lot of the like gay stuff that I've seen is really just plotless and like very artsy and very like, I don't know, you're watching pretty extreme stuff, but like in a really like beautiful and like esoteric kind of framing or whatever. I'm gonna read my review for this film. I was gonna describe it, but I was pretty proud of this review, so I'm gonna read it. I was really enjoying watching this man fit both his entire fists up another man's ass until I realized that this doesn't pass the Bechdel test. But that happened, and I was like, again, I didn't know you could do that, but there it is. I'm watching it happen. Next is Blonde Ambition. This is another one that I grabbed for like entryway points. Like if you're into classic Hollywood, what a strange person that I've envisioned. That's like, I'm really into classic Hollywood, but I want to get into vintage pornography. What would you recommend? Should that person exist, this is the one that I would recommend. It's a screwball comedy. It's actually pretty high budget. Like there's multiple locations, there's dance numbers, it's a musical. It's great. It's genuinely very funny. Cinematography by Roberta Findlay. She didn't direct it, but she shot it, and she is so talented. Like it looks great. So I recommend that one. Another Melusine title, and the packaging is just fucking astounding. Seriously, between that and Through the Looking Glass, everybody watching this should have a Melusine film in their collection by the end of this. They're great releases, and they aren't selling as well as I think they should. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit, so let me try to go a little bit faster. But next one is Barber Broadcast. This was one that I watched, again, fairly recently and doesn't have an official release yet because it was through Distripix and it's out of print. I can almost guarantee this is going to be a Melusine 4K or a Distripix release. But hell yeah, ordering Thundercrack. Let's go. This one is just like, it's about a restaurant. It's kind of like Hot and Saucy Pizza Girls, but like you can order like you can order food, but like you can also order your waitress to do whatever you want, you know? So like they'll be like, oh, I want this like appetizer or whatever, and I want you to jerk off on it. And so he does. And like it's that kind of thing, you know? But like, so like again, like the plot is not anything astounding, but like it's just beautiful. Like the cinematography is astounding and just really good. I don't know. Like the plots aren't as important on some of these so much as just like watching people like getting to experiment and be really bold with like their cinematography and their framing and their production design and their lighting and stuff like that. Like they could get kind of crazy with it, and some really cool stuff. So I liked that one a lot. Next is Alexandra. I reviewed this for Punk Vacation. Again, this is kind of like a it feels like an old Hollywood film, but in color. It's kind of about these. Let me try to remember. It's kind of a convoluted plot. Like this woman who leaves tapes for these three women that she's like trying to get revenge on, and so like they're. It's based off of this is why it feels like classic Hollywood. It's based off of a classic Hollywood film. I forget the name of it, but again, actors are really good. Cinematography is really good. I enjoyed this one a lot. And this is available through Quality X right now.
Nice.
Next one is Farewell Scarlet. Shout out to Sasha in the chat. She sent this to me. This is like a whodunit murder mystery Clue style film, but it's pornographic. It's not amazing, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was fun. It's kind of goofy. Like they really go for it in terms of like hitting all the tropes and everything. So I enjoyed that. And the last one that I want to talk about, last but certainly not least, is Images in a Convent. Joe D'Amato, Severin Films, horny nuns doing hot shit. I'm into it.
We already knew what it was with the word convent.
Cool sets on that one too. Like, it's sick. I'm into it. It's not my favorite in that set, the Nasty Habits set, which is great. But shout out to Dr. Jeff Butcher again, who did send me that one. But Images in a Convent, I loved it. So
good stuff. Sorry you're losing your voice. This has been a fun chat. Like lending, just time to be able to discuss these doesn't happen enough. I mean, there's outlet for it in other places. Definitely recommend like the Rialto Report. The other big thing, listen to the commentaries on these just to hear the crazy stories. They are absolutely worth it, especially like Through the Looking Glass and some of the ones that are more up to date and people that actually have a pretty good memory on how some of these things were made are just astonishing to listen to.
Hey, Ragnar. I don't know what your grandparents did for a living, but I'm certainly not literally watching my grandparents screw when I watch these movies. To take it back to a serious thing, the Rialto Report. Anything, look, I'm always upfront about this on the segment. Whenever I talk about it, most anything that I actually know about this that I'm relaying to you, I learned on the Rialto Report. Like they are the premier source for this stuff, and like. I kind of feel like Ashley West is my professor in this sort of thing, and I'm just relaying all that to you all. But you could just go straight to the source because he's great. And I listen to a lot of podcasts. That's like what I do all day at work, basically. And with the Rialto Report is one of the best, like full stop. They're so good. Like they treat it with the care and the respect that like it deserves, and they'll talk to the actors in these films, and like you'll hear them being like, this is why you're the best interviewer. Like you actually ask the good questions, and like you treat us with respect, and it's not like a lurid thing, or like it's not like immature, or like he's like actually treating it, or him, and he has collaborators as well, but it's mainly his project, I think. He's treating it like literal like academic articles or like academic texts that you can listen to, and the editing is really good, the production is really good on it, and it's still going, so check it out.
Definitely a must subscribe for them, and they're like we just mentioned, they're involved in some of the extras on some of these. Like, not to just keep hyping up through the Looking Glass, but the Realtor Report has stuff on there. There's some other films that it's got stuff on there. Not a lot of great books on the subject. There are a couple, especially in the last handful of years. There's been some Kickstarter campaigns for a couple of good ones. Looks like you got one you want to shout out.
Well, I would just say that on the Melusine site, they have a lot of books, and they're
Right.
not ones that I'm familiar with, but like Wakefield Poole's memoirs are on there. There's a lot of academic, like there's one about Black women in porn on there right now that's from like a university press. So like there's some really good scholarship on this stuff that is actually available, which I think is so cool, by the way. Like I know that Vinegar Syndrome has kind of become this like monolith and like this kind of monopolistic behemoth or whatever, but like it is super sick. But like you could place an order and get like porn on 4K and academic studies of porn, and also like I don't know, Haunted Ween or some stupid movie like that, all in the same place. You know, like that's really cool. Haunted Ween is good. I'm not even talking. Like, you know.
Oh man, that was perfect. Celeste, thank you so much for doing this. This has been a while, but this was very needed. It's always nice to see your face here, and especially for a topic like this.
I had a blast. Thank you again. I'm happy to be here anytime. This is my favorite show to be on. I say it all the time. I'm always saying this, but yeah. It has been a minute. So I'm excited. I'm happy to be here. And I do look, last time I was not in a good headspace. I had COVID. I'm like was roasting the guy who said I was too negative, but I did not feel as though that was my best showing. And this was fun. So I'm excited about this.
One thing we can't say, I believe we're still planning on it. You and Jeremy will probably be back for the Thursday night for the halfway sale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't miss it.
Can't wait. It's one of my favorite things to do every year, and
yeah, I always look forward to it. So
the other thing, I always shout out my Patreon. Everybody needs to go support Celeste Patreon. Really nice Discord attached to it. Great exclusive videos reacting to all of the announcements. First grab at some of the videos before they go up on the channel. You get nice postcards and stickers in the mail if you go up to the higher level. Donating money to worthy causes, and we all get to vote on them. It's a lot of great stuff. You do good stuff.
Yeah. Growing up religious, there's like a couple things that I think are good ideas that I've taken with me, and one of those is like not tithing literally, and that like 10% of your income should go to the church, but like the idea of taking 10% of a venture and like giving that to a charitable cause or whatever. I've always liked that idea. So 10% of the pledges every single month goes to, I mean, I can just tell you, it's going to be the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. That's what my community has voted for every month for like a year. It was originally going to be like queer center charities, but like then a genocide started, and I was like, maybe we should throw this in too. And that has just been the winner every month. So I'm really happy to have taken this venture and contributed like some kind of meaningful change in that regard. But also, look, it's fucking rough out here. Like, I don't want to get dark, but like politically, things are really bad, and like financially, I'm pretty much always living paycheck to paycheck and like doing my very best to like make ends meet. And like literally my Patreon payout is the difference between me paying a bill and not every single month. Like I do rely on it, and I am like so grateful for everybody who has stuck with me. We have a really supportive and lovely Discord community. I mean, you do too, but like I am proud of the community that I've cultivated as well. Like yours is kind of the standard that I set for myself, and like I think that we've done a pretty good job. So if you're looking for another community of weird cinephiles, come hang out. And yeah, there is exclusive content. It's so much fucking work, but those postcards are a thing that I'm proud of too, that I can send out. And my Plex server, where you can watch some of the stuff we talked about today. I'm just saying. So it's basically like a subscription service,
except better. And there's like 800 things from the Muppets on there, and it's amazing.
I have all of the Muppets. All of
It
it.
made me so happy when you went out there.
I found collections of all of it, and I was just like, fuck yes. So it's like deranged porn, and then like the entire collection of the Muppets, like every single deep cut broadcast and everything. Check it out.
And Celeste saying every single is not exhaustive enough for you to understand. It is every single. Like, I was like, oh, she added more. Let's go see what it was. Scrolling so many Muppets. I'm like, I mean, I've got a Muppets tattoo, so this is worth it. Amazing. Thank you for everything. Everybody have a good week. We will see you next time. Celeste, be safe. We'll talk soon.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me take my plugs or give my plugs and everything. I love you all. Thank you for staying with us. This was fun. I'll be here anytime.
On that note, have a good. Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share it with someone else that may appreciate this.